On behalf of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Borrego and I would like to welcome you to the May 26, 2026 meeting of the Canutillo. You don't hear it?
No.
Hello? Hello?
1, 2.
Hello?
There it goes.
Hello? Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Borrego and I would like to welcome you to the May 26, 2026 meeting of the Canutillo School Board. We are grateful for the accomplishments of another school year. Thank you to the district leadership, teachers, support staff, students, families, and community members. Your engagement and commitment to excellence plays a big role in the success of our district. Thank you. The Canutillo Independent School District Board Trustee meeting is now in session. The time is 6:01.
Item 1B, roll call. Mrs. Barnes?
Present.
Mrs. Borrego?
Present.
Ms. Maldonado?
Present.
Mr. Martinez?
Present.
Mrs. Ortega?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
And Mrs. Zuniga did call ahead of time to mention she wouldn't be able to make it to tonight's meeting. And Moises Aguirre?
Present.
And Mason Cosette.
Present.
Item 1C, Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please, Moises, the two gentlemen on our right, can you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you, gentlemen.
Item 1E, CISD Mission and Vision Statements.
Ms. Maldonado, would you lead us in the vision, and Ms. Borrego in the vision statement, please?
Vision. Lead today, impact tomorrow.
We provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are empowered to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
Thank you.
Item number 2, Board Honors. Presenter, Mr. Gustavo Reveles.
Good evening, Board President Martinez, members of the board, and Dr. Borrego. Please join us in front of the dais as we begin tonight's Board Honors. Good evening. It is my pleasure to be here tonight to celebrate the outstanding work being done by the students and staff of the Canutillo Independent School District as we continue striving to be the best small school district in Texas and the premier district in our region. As the school year winds down, we continue to celebrate remarkable accomplishments that place the name of our district, our city, and our corner of Texas among the very best. So let's begin. To call the Canutillo High School 4x400 relay team underdogs would be fitting. While Canutillo has consistently advanced to the regional level in this event, and while this team showed tremendous grit and determination all season long, not many experts believe the team, under the direction of head coach Ruben Galaviz and assistant coach John Erfurt, would make it past regionals. They were wrong. Not only did the team qualify for the state meet, they made history by earning a spot on the state championship podium with a third-place finish. Runners Giovanni Vaquera, Adrian Lopez, Shane Christensen, and David Rivas, along with alternates Elijah Martinez and Carlos Saucedo, amassed more than the state medal, which is saying a lot. 3 separate times this season, the boys broke the school record in the 4x400 relay, eventually setting a new record time of 3 minutes, 14.41 seconds. The team also earned the highest point total ever recorded by Canutillo High School at the UIL State Track and Field Championships. Simply put, it was a banner year for our runners. Please help me welcome the Canutillo High School 4x400 Relay State Medalists and their coaches. The what? So you're gonna grab Coach Galavises just for the photo, and then yours is coming. Coach Brooks, come up too, please. Yes, please scoot over. You don't want to be up there? No. I don't tell Coach what to do. Gio, move to your right. Gio, to my right. Yeah, left. The other right. Mr. Rangel, right here by Mando.
I can't get coaches. Ready? Okay, I'm done. Stay there. Hold it. Now, all the parents.
Oh wait, hold on. Hold on, I'm coming.
All right, now look here. One, two, take it.
No, not yet. So right now, Mando. I got it. Yeah, Matt, sir, we got it. All right, parents of all these students, please come up. Be part of that photo. All the families.
Step up 1 step, guys. Come on, step up 1 step. There you go. You're good. So your parents will be in front of you. All right. And we'll be in between the guys. Come on. All right.
Congratulations, boys. I want to say that the city of El Paso issued a proclamation last week, and they declared May 21st, 2026 as Canutillo High School 4x4 relay team in the city of El Paso. So they get their own day. Additionally, they got a special and personalized message from one of the McFarlane movie athletes that won the state championship in California and had a movie made of them. So they're getting a lot of attention. So congratulations. And thanks for representing Canutillo so well. Yes. No, we have 2 seniors. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Canutillo ISD is proud to recognize the incredible work of our school counselors, social workers, and case managers who serve our students, staff, and families each and every day. Across our campuses, these dedicated professionals provide support, guidance, and compassion to students navigating challenges both inside and outside the classroom, whether helping a child cope with anxiety, supporting families during difficult times, or connecting students with critical resources. Their work changes lives. Today's students are facing increasingly complex emotional, social, and mental health challenges. In the years following the pandemic, schools across the nation have seen a growing need for mental health services as students work through stress, isolation, trauma, and uncertainty. That reality makes the work of our counselors, social workers, and case managers more important than ever. These professionals are often the first to notice when a student is struggling. They are trusted listeners, problem solvers, advocates, and mentors who help students feel safe, supported, and connected. Their impact reaches far beyond academics because their help creates the conditions students need to succeed in life. In recognition of May as Mental Health Awareness Month, please help us welcome the members of our Student Support Services team, our counselors, social workers, and case managers who go above and beyond in supporting our students and families. Yeah. All right, guys. Can we let them shake hands? Yeah, I think so.
Got you. Ah,
Somebody stand right here on this one. Right here. There you go. There's another little one. Come over here, sweetie. Right there. There you go. A little one. Got you. The little one's here. There you go.
Strike the pose. To the right. To the left. Hold it. Hold it. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all for the great work you do. Last but certainly not least, tonight we recognize two members of the Canutillo ISD Board of Trustees family whose term as student advisors is coming to an end. Mason Gossett from Canutillo High School. Yeah. And Moises Aguirre from Northwest Early College High School. Canutillo ISD has become a leader in Texas in elevating student voice and involving students in the decision-making process. The creation of the student advisor role for the Board of Trustees was innovative and groundbreaking, and Canutillo ISD is at the forefront of that movement. This program allows students to sit alongside board members at the dais to discuss and review issues before the board, giving students a meaningful and unprecedented seat at the table, one few districts across the state provide. Mason and Moises embraced the responsibility wholeheartedly, arriving month after month, prepared, engaged, and ready to advocate for the issues their peers considered most important, and their work resulted in meaningful student representation and helped shape conversations surrounding the day-to-day operation of our district. They took their roles back to their campuses, where they organized student meetings, and involvement sessions that help the Board of Trustees and the administration make sound decisions about the future of Canutillo ISD. As their terms conclude, we want to thank Mason and Moises and wish them the very best as they begin the next chapter of their lives. Mason will attend Midwestern State University this fall, while Moises will attend Middlebury College in Vermont. We could not be prouder of the work they accomplished. They helped set the standard for what this position represents and leave behind a legacy that will continue to impact Canutillo ISD for years to come. Please help me congratulate Mason Gossett and Moises Aguirre. Yeah. All right, moms and dads and siblings, please come up.
One, two, and three. 1, 2, and 3.
On a personal note, I worked alongside Mason and Moises very closely this year, and I couldn't be more hopeful of the future of this school district and very proud of the work our students and our teachers do to prepare these leaders of tomorrow. Congratulations, guys. I'm going to miss you. Board President Martinez, members of the board, and Dr. Borrego, this concludes this month's board honors.
Item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with District Policy BED Local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on these policies, contact the Superintendent's Administrative Assistant. And Mr. President, we do have 5 community members who signed up for tonight's meeting. The first one is Ms. Julie Scott regarding Mental Health Month appreciation.
Good evening, Dr. Borrego and members of the board. My name is Julie Scott. I am a district parent, and I stand before you tonight during Mental Health Awareness Month with a heart that is both grateful and heavy. I am deeply grateful for the counselors, case managers, and social workers who protect our students' well-being. However, my heart is heavy because our 3 grant-funded case managers and 1 social worker are at risk of losing their positions. My heart is grateful for their life-changing dedication they have shown. My heart is heavy because I know exactly what will happen to our students if they are gone. Our case managers and social workers are not just administrative support. They are the lifeline of the district. Our case managers are the daily first line of defense. They target Tier 2 and Tier 3 crisis. While Tier 1 covers general support, our case managers step in when students face academic failure, severe disciplinary referrals, and chronic attendance issues. They bridge the gap between home and school by conducting home visits, connecting families to outside agencies for food, clothing, and sit with parents to navigate complex financial assistance paperwork. They help manage immediate safety. For instance, when our digital monitoring system flags trigger words, our case managers are often the first to intervene. They step in a moment a counselor is unavailable, preventing a minor incident from escalating into severe crisis. Our social workers are the safety net when all other options are exhausted. They address the most severe trauma. They handle intensive family crisis work, student homelessness, and foster care stabilization. They build critical infrastructure in our district. Thanks to their effort, Canutillo is the only district in the region with a mental health advisory council, bringing vital local entities directly to our students and district. They protect our staff. For the past 5 years, their annual SEL Bowl has equipped our faculty and staff with support and resources to deal not only with student crisis, but also help the staff themselves. They have trained the majority of staff in youth and adult mental health first aid, as well as seniors in teen mental health first aid at CHS and NECHES. Let me be explicit about what happens if these 4 positions are lost. The burden of doing the jobs of 3 case managers and an additional social worker will fall entirely on our remaining 2 social workers, limiting their availability and resources. Delayed emergency response. We've had multiple crisis intervention team calls go out at the very same time. Without this team, the safety net that supports our counselors will collapse. When a child is in severe mental distress or experiencing grief, they will be forced to wait. In a crisis, waiting is dangerous. Our school counselors are already at capacity. Losing this team will pull them away from peer guidance, academic guidance, college prep, graduation tracking, just to manage daily survival needs. I recognize the budget roller coaster you are navigating, and I sincerely appreciate your diligence in managing deficits and limited funded provided by the state. And I know that replacing grant money with general funds is a daunting challenge, but I implore you, please do not let these services disappear. I ask you to remain relentless in seeking new grants, identifying creative funding, or reallocating resources to keep these professionals in our school. They are not just a line item in a budget. They are the safety net that holds our children when they are falling. Please protect the professionals who protect our kids. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I am here to advocate for our mental health providers.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Thank you for your time, your leadership, and dedication to Canutillo. Sorry.
Next participant will be Ms. Guadalupe Montañez regarding agenda items 6A and 7A.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Borrego. It is not new for me to stand before you and advocate for my campus. Over the past 4 years, I have come before this board to fight to keep our campus open, then to advocate for the bond, always to support the students, staff, and community I love deeply. Tonight, however, I come before you to advocate for myself. I would not wish this upon anyone. Those who know me know that education is not simply my profession, it is my life's work and passion. I have worked hard to become principal. The position was not just handed or given to me. I have proudly served this district for 23 years and had every intention of retiring from Canutillo ISD in 3 years. At no point in my career have I ever turned my back on students. Regardless of the campus or circumstances, I have always placed students first. I have dedicated my career to ensuring that students feel safe, supported, respected, and successful. If concerns regarding student treatment were ever brought to my attention, I addressed them immediately and seriously without hesitation. Today, my ethics, integrity, and credibility are being questioned, and that is deeply painful. I ask the board to consider the realities of the role I have carried as a sole administrator at Davenport Elementary. Regardless of campus size, the responsibilities remain the same. I have managed these responsibilities alone, and I was told that my lack of support was merely a cop-out for what occurred, but it was not. It was the reality of the demands placed upon me. I never complained because I believed in the work and in my students. It is difficult to fulfill extensive administrative and campus obligations, complete ARDs, teacher and staff evaluations, walkthroughs, students' discipline, coordination of testing, PLCs, parent meetings totaling more than 148 hours, and attend over 96 hours of district meetings just from January through April, and simultaneously monitor every area of a campus at every moment alone. Our campus went from D rating to an A rating because of dedication, teamwork, high expectations, and a genuine commitment to children. My teachers wanted to speak on my behalf tonight, as they know my heart and my commitment to the campus. However, they felt discouraged from doing so after a central office admin informed them that speaking publicly could negatively affect them, and were informed I would no longer be the principal. DDE is more than a campus to me. It is my family and my community. I am their voice. I look forward to having my granddaughters attend Davenport along with my nieces and nephews. But now the possibility of losing that connection is heartbreaking. I ask each of you to reflect on my years of service, my commitment to this district, and the work we have accomplished together. I respectfully ask to return to Deanna Davenport to continue serving the students, staff, and community that I have devoted my heart and career to. Thank you.
Next participant is Ms. Nadia Perez regarding the return of Ms. Montañez to her job.
Good evening, Dr. Borrego and members of the board. My name is Nadia Perez, and I am here to speak on behalf of my mother, Ms. Montañez. From a very young age, she taught me respect, integrity, and service, not through words alone, but through actions, by the way she cares and uplifts her community. I have never known her to act with malicious intent or any disregard for students. No matter what challenges were happening around her, my mother has always placed her school and her students above all else. I learned my work ethic, my sense of fairness, and commitment to others from watching her. Even when my siblings and I attended this school district, we were never expected, nor did we receive any sort of special treatment because she worked here. Instead, she showed us how to work hard for what we wanted and earned everything honestly. I could stand here all day, listing the ways my mother has dedicated herself to the district. The truth is, each and every one of you already know her commitment. That is why I am here today, to advocate not only for her, but for the entire Diana Davenport Elementary School community, because they also deserve a principal who supports her staff and students the way my mother has for the last 8 years. And for 4 of those years, she did it alone, without an assistant principal because the district chose not to provide one. When the district needed support, my mother showed up. When the bond needed to be passed, she walked the Westway neighborhood door to door, speaking with families and gathering votes. Whatever the district asked, she delivered. Now we are asking you to do the same. Allow my mother, Ms. Montañez, to return to her campus where her students, staff, and parents rely on her. Thank you.
Next participant is Ms. Nayeli Gonzalez regarding the non-renewal of Diana Davenport principal.
Good evening, Dr. Borrego and members of the board. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I come before you with a full and grateful heart, but also with deep concern regarding the non-renewal of a principal who has given so much to this district over the past years. I have had the pleasure of working with Ms. Montañez since the beginning of my professional career with Canutillo. First, when she served as assistant principal at Jose Damian, and later while working together again at Davenport. During her time as principal, she has faced challenges that many leaders would find overwhelming. For the entirety of her tenure, she has led her campus without the support of an assistant principal. Despite this, she did not step back, she stepped up. She took on multiple roles, carried additional responsibilities, and remained steady and committed for the sake of her students and staff. Her leadership has produced measurable success. Under her guidance, the campus earned an A rating, a reflection of the high expectations she set and the relentless effort she poured into student achievement. This did not happen by chance. It happened because of her vision, her dedication, and her belief that every student deserves excellence. Beyond academics, she played a critical role alongside her CISD community, helping the district successfully pass the bond, demonstrating her ability to engage the community, build trust, and advocate for the future of our schools. She has a deep understanding of this community, built over 23 years of service in the district. She knows its values, recognizes its strengths, understands its needs, and has consistently led with that perspective at the forefront. Perhaps one of the most defining aspects of her leadership came during the past 3 years when the possibility of closing Davenport loomed over the community. During that time of uncertainty, fear, and instability, she remained present, grounded, and supportive. She stood alongside the Davenport community, not just as a principal, but as a protector of its people and its legacy. She supported her staff when they feared losing their jobs. She reassured teachers when morale was low. She communicated with parents honestly and compassionately. In moments when it would have been easy to disengage, she chose instead to lean in, to lead with integrity, empathy, and strength. This is not just about a position. It is about a person who has demonstrated unwavering commitment to students, staff, and families. It is about a leader who has consistently put the needs of others before her own. It is about someone who has proven time and time again that she belongs in this role. Thank you for your time and for considering the profound value Ms. Montañez has brought and continues to bring to this community.
Next participant is Mr. Joshua Cuellar regarding item 7A on behalf of Deanna Davenport Elementary Principal.
Good evening. I stand before you today to speak in support of a principal who has dedicated herself to the Davenport campus, its community, and most importantly, its students. For years, she has not only served as the sole principal, but at times has also carried responsibilities that would normally belong to multiple administrative positions. Despite those challenges, she continued to show up every day with professionalism, accountability, and commitment to the success of the school. Leadership is not measured only when everything is fully staffed and running smoothly. True leadership is measured during the difficult moments, when resources are limited, demands are overwhelming, and expectations continue to rise. She did not walk away from those challenges. She stepped up repeatedly to fill gaps because she cared deeply about the students and staff depending on her. I also want to address the idea that a lack of support is just an excuse, or that she should have known about every event or incident that occurred at all times. No administrator, regardless of experience or ability, can physically be in two places at once. Meetings, district obligations, and off-campus responsibilities are part of the role she is expected to fill. Holding one person solely responsible for events that occur ignores the reality of how schools operate and the importance of having adequate support systems in place. In fact, when she was placed on administrative leave, the district immediately assigned 2 administrators to step into her role. That decision alone demonstrates the level of support and coverage the campus required all along. The urgency to provide additional administrative help only became clear after she was no longer there carrying the workload by herself. Accountability matters, but fairness matters too. It should not be expected that one individual perform the duties of several people simultaneously and then criticize them for not achieving the impossible. The fact that issues may have occurred while she was handling other required responsibilities does not prove neglect. It highlights the strain placed on a campus operating without sufficient central office support. What should matter tonight is her body of work, her dedication, and the countless hours she's invested into this district and its students. She deserves to be judged not by assumptions or by hindsight, but by the integrity, work ethic, and commitment she has consistently demonstrated throughout her tenure. Thank you.
Mr. President, that concludes board open forum. Next item is item number 4, Board of Trustees business. Item 4A, presentation, discussion, and possible action to approve district restructure for fiscal year 2026-2027 to include revised positions, personnel, reclassifications, adjusted work calendars, and reclassifications of grant funding. Presenter, Ms. Martha Carrasco.
Good evening, President Martinez, board members, and Dr. Borrego. I'm here this evening to remind you of the April 21st regular board meeting when we came before you to recommend a reduction in force under policy DFFB. This policy applies when a reduction in force is due to program changes that requires the non-renewal of term contracts. However, a reduction in force was not necessary because the district staffing adjustments were accomplished through normal personnel management process and through organizational restructuring. The district was able to address operational needs through reassignment of duties, restructuring of administrative functions, and attrition without implementing a formal reduction in force under board policy. The presentation that you are about to hear is divided into two sections. The first part of it deals with new requests or needs that we're anticipating for the 26-27 school year. The second part of it is the restructure or the savings that we've been able to do with the organizational restructure that we did for the district. So first of all, I'd like to talk to you about the new positions that have been requested. This is through staffing that numerous directors have requested. But anyway, the positions that I'm going to talk about are things that we need to prepare for next school year. And there is a request, there's a dollar amount after each one so that you can see that. But we're requesting 8 teachers, 1 assistant principal, 1 executive director for secondary, 6 special ed aides, 3 autism teachers, 1 speech language pathologist, and 1 CCMR coach. If you notice that the last 3 items have an asterisk by it, and that means that those positions are either fully or partially funded by grant funds. The total investment for all of these positions is $1,674,171. In addition, there are some stipend allocations, and those will be in detail or specific, will be outlined during the compensation presentation next. But for now, the total amount for these stipend allocations is $45,720. In addition, in the compensation presentation, you're going to see a step increase that we're recommending for teacher pay. And that totals $169,500. There are also personnel and calendar adjustments. For example, we're requesting position reclassifications for this restructure. The Executive Director of Finance to move into the Chief Financial Officer. The ELAR Coordinator will become the Director of CNI. The Math Coordinator will be the Assistant Director of CNI. And the Science Coordinator will be the Testing and Research Coordinator. These position reclassification have an impact of $39,572. In addition, we have some work calendar adjustments. The licensed specialist in school psychology, the request from the Director of Special Ed is that they go from 190 days to 224. That's an increase of 34 days. The speech language pathologist currently works 190 days. The request has been to increase it to 200 days. The lead speech language pathologist is at 200 days currently, and the increase is to 210 days. So overall, the total calendar or work calendar impact is $80,924. So just in summary, new positions and adjustments. As I said, the new positions is $1,674,171. Stipend allocations that I will talk more in detail about in the next presentation is $45,720. The step increase for teachers is $169,500. We have the position reclassifications at $39,572 and a calendar adjustments of $80,924. Overall, we have total amount is $2,009,887. We do have a credit because we're giving as a credit the grant-funded positions at $447,281. So the total impact is $562,606. So that is what we are requesting as new positions and adjustments for next school year. Moving on to the second part of the presentation. Yes, ma'am.
My apologies, I missed it. I got the other ones. Licensed specialist in school psychology, what do you want to increase it to? What calendar days?
It's going from 190 to 224.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have two questions.
Yes.
The first question, was there a TASB study on this?
No, sir.
This was just your recommendation, or who analyzed the recommendation?
We went through staffing. We talked to each campus, each principal, and each department head. That's normally how we do the staffing
Well, you're saying
requests.
there needs to be increase in steps and all that. I believe in the past you would provide a comprehensive study that I could probably pull one up from previous years.
Yes, I think it's been like 3 years that we have not contracted with TASB, simply because that we need to commit to that contract starting early in the year, and we didn't have the funds available for that at that time.
And what does that cost?
It ranges anything between $5,000 and $10,000.
A year?
Yes.
And you're telling me that, so you're making these recommendations?
The district overall
Well,
administration based on.
Ms. Carrasco, real quick,
Yes.
are you finished with your presentation?
No, sir.
Can we continue and leave the comments till you're done?
Well, I believe I had the floor, so let me have her finish asking those questions if possible. The other question that I do have, Mr. Chair, and to the superintendent, I was hoping we were going to have a budget presentation as well, because I think these have serious consequences to the budget, and so that concerns me as well.
So Trustee Rodriguez, your concern is noted. We had a budget presentation scheduled for this upcoming month, and so we can get into the details. We did provide this information beforehand. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
At the previous meeting, we did request a budget presentation that we had so we could get an update, as well as the HR position, so we could compare in regards to the org charts. That was discussed at the last meeting.
Ms. Pilley?
The budget presentation that was presented at the last board meeting included all of these items already rolled into that presentation and the bottom numbers
But
as well.
that wasn't the request from the board.
I'm sorry?
The request was to have it at this meeting as well, so we could continue to compare, because as the budget shifts, it's important for us to see how those projections look.
Right, so the numbers haven't shifted from the last presentation. I can give you the same numbers. We just have to be able to, whatever the board decides to do tonight, we will incorporate that and update the board as to the results.
So my understanding, the request was for the budget positions, allocations, and funding codes, so we did provide that information. So I apologize if we did not provide the proper information, but we can do that moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the answer?
Not really, but that's what's on our agenda, so let's move forward.
Move forward, please.
Thank you. So the second part is the restructure savings. In other words, when we've met and we've discussed reallocation of resources. And these are positions that will, that are going to be eliminated for next school year. And we have an IT security specialist. We have the district travel clerk, the CNI admin assistant, prevention specialist facilitator, 3 bilingual LPAC aides, social studies coordinator, multilingual stipend for 6 SLPs that Ms. Mena did not need anymore. There's a teacher retirement or separations. There's been 6 teachers that have retired or separated from the district. And then we do have a retirement from a librarian. There are other additional savings based on grant reclassification. I believe there's some positions that now they're doing some work with grants, and so some of that funding, they're going to be split funded. And so finance has given me the amount of $195,228 in the reclassification. So total estimated savings is $1,240,044. At this point in time, administration is recommending the approval of the new positions requested, the personnel reclassifications, adjustments to work calendars, and the grant reclassification.
Thank you, Ms. Carrasco.
Through the chair.
Ms. Maldonado.
So I'm a little confused. You just stated that there was no reduction in force needed because of it was accomplished through different means, correct?
That's
how you
correct.
started.
Yes, ma'am.
But then you're talking about, you just said that under the restructure savings, these particular positions will be eliminated. That was the word you used.
Pardon me?
You said that these positions would be eliminated.
That's correct.
Eliminated for what reason? Reduction in force?
They are positions that are vacant at the end of the year. And so at this point, we decided in the restructuring that the positions would not be needed for next school year.
So we don't have a district travel clerk right now?
Right now, we don't have one right now. Some of those duties currently have been allocated or to a different individual.
And social studies coordinator, well, he resigned. So the teacher retirement separations, there's 6 of them that are retiring?
That's correct.
For that total?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the librarian retirement, there's probably 1 that's retiring as well?
That's correct.
So you're saying that these positions will be eliminated for those reasons. However, district travel clerk the job is being done by someone else,
That's correct.
in so many words. All right? And then on the new positions, well, first of all, let me go to the position reclassifications. The first one is Executive Director of Finance, going to CFO, to a Chief Financial. Through the Chair, I cannot vote on something that we've yet to discuss. That's later in the agenda under executive session.
Yes, Ms. Maldonado, and I should have mentioned that you can exclude from this the CFO position and the Executive Director of Secondary, because those will be brought forth to the board for those discussions on those 2 positions.
Then they shouldn't have been included in this, Ms. Carrasco.
Well, I needed to include the dollar amount so that you were aware.
The other one is under your teacher pay scale step increase. That's a given. When a teacher reaches another year, it's a given that they fall into the next step. So I don't see that as I guess as a raise. It's a step up that's given. If I'm at 10 years and this coming year is going to be 11, then I fall into the step of 11 years, correct?
It's not a given because we can freeze the pay scale. And so we've done that in the past, and we've done
Has
that
it
in
been
previous.
frozen up to now?
Pardon me?
Is it frozen right now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The other one is the stipend allocations. What exactly is involved in those stipend allocations?
And those will be brought to you at the next presentation on compensation.
Again, how can I vote on something that I don't have information on yet?
I don't think I'm asking you for that vote.
Well, the agenda says action to approve district restructure.
Yes, the new positions, other than the CFO and the executive director for secondary, the personnel reclassifications, again, and then the adjustments to the work calendars and the grant reclassification. I'm not asking for stipends or for those positions at this point. I will ask for that at the next presentation.
And my next question is, you mentioned under the position and costs, you mentioned that the ones with asterisks are grant funded.
That's correct.
So we just heard a community member speaking on behalf of advocating for 4 social workers and caseworkers that are at risk of losing their job, grant funded, correct?
That's correct. The funding is ending on September 30th.
Okay. And so we know the importance of mental health in our society now, especially amongst children. And so I kind of find it hard to believe that we know the grant is being eliminated. It's being, like you said, it's ending, but we're not making an effort to somehow replace these social workers and caseworkers at a time where the need of mental health is so important. I find that very, very disturbing.
Ms. Maldonado, maybe I can add a little bit of information to that. So every grant is very specific as to what can be paid from that particular funding source, and we are actively looking at additional funding so that we can keep our social workers. We're working already on a grant that could possibly help fund those positions as well.
See, this is all the information that I need to know ahead of time. You're expecting me to make a decision on something that you're presenting, but then there's these questions, and you're saying, oh, at a later time, oh, at a later time. No, the time is now. If you want me to approve something, if you want me to do, give me all the information that I need. You're asking me kind of to agree to what you're presenting blindsided, because there's all these issues.
So, Ms. Maldonado, we appreciate your correction, and you have a point there. Part of it is the situation is fluid. With the social workers, we know that their contract, the grant funds end on September 30th. And so we've been actively, finding different funding sources. And so we're currently in talks. And so we started actually helping the grant writer write the grant over the weekend. And so, again, things are moving in real time. And so as we get information, we share with everyone on the board, and we'd be happy to share the grant funding source, who's helping us. We can include that in the Thursday packet.
And the other question, Ms. Puli, is that you mentioned that all these positions that we're looking at and the costs were included in the budget workshop that you gave us last month?
Yes, ma'am.
In the total amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Which showed that we are not in a deficit.
Correct.
But it does show that the fund balance, the days, on the last one that you gave us was something like, it decreased actually from 2026 to next year. The forecast was 51 days of fund balance in fiscal year 26, yet you stated that we're not going to be in a deficit, that we're going to have a balanced budget.
Correct.
For 27. However, the fund balance days are 48 days, a decrease.
Correct. So we have additional funds that we put into assigned fund balance. We do a refresh for IT. Every year we set aside $750,000 to do that refresh, and that reduces the amount of unassigned fund balance. At any time, if the district so chooses, they can postpone that $750,000 and include it in unassigned fund balance.
And I'm going to be quite frank. With everything that's happening around us, with El Paso, with Socorro, with Isleta, I don't want to be in that position. And so I know that the budget changes daily, and I know that many things have an impact on the changes. That's why I had requested that we do a budget presentation monthly to look at that. So you're asking for $1.6 additional cost for these positions that, according to Ms. Carrasco, have gone through the campus's needs. Are you taking it from the needs assessment from the campuses?
Yes, we have staffing in preparation for this presentation.
Okay. And so I'm a little baffled at how it's presented, to be honest with you, because I think that all this ties together, you know, and you're with the budget and everything. So it has to be included, not in bits and pieces, but as a whole package so that we can actually see where we're standing. I don't want to be faced in June, oh, this change, and then be in a predicament where we're not balanced, we're in a deficit, right? So I find it very, very concerning, to be honest with you, that we're restructuring to, quote, save money, but in a sense, we're really not, because there's additional costs. Like if you go to your personnel and calendar adjustments, there's additional costs for every restructure or reclassification position there. So I'm having a very hard time I understand it, it just makes no sense to me and there's no justification for it.
So there's outcomes that are related to those requests. We're looking to improve our scores, of course, the quality of education that we're providing. So there's a delicate balance in doing that. We're being prudent in the fact that we're trying to find savings in order to improve our programs with the personnel that we currently have. That does take a little bit of funds. However, we've identified savings in other areas so that we can still maintain a budget balance while still improving outcomes.
And so, Ms. Carrasco, the 8 teachers are for throughout the district, or are they for specific grade levels, campus?
They're for the different campuses, yes. I just totaled them all.
And is
the
that
different
because our
requests.
enrollment is going up?
So I can answer that. Part of it's for programming. One of the requests that we had from parents was that they wanted to continue advanced academics at the middle school. And so we're providing advanced academics teachers, specifically in Spanish, so that our 8th graders could take advanced Spanish. The other piece, we know that there was a huge demand with parents that they wanted more support for fine arts. And so we went ahead and, we got another music teacher that will help our students with music and orchestra to develop our mariachi program, which is something that we've done some long-range planning for. And so the rest of the positions you see there, we went back and we block scheduled our high school at Canutillo High School because it's one of the schools that we have on our radar as administration. And so we said, hey, let's provide support so students and teachers can do a better job at the high school. And so we went back to block schedule. By doing that, it increased the teacher workload by 4. And so those positions were provided to the high school. Again, it's all tied to academics, all tied to providing opportunity for our students. And so all of these have a rationale. And so these are great questions. Thank you.
Dr.
So-
Carrasco.
Can I finish?
Sure.
So that is my point. Everything has a rationale, but yet we're not being given that information. It would help to be given this information instead of just 8 teachers. And now you're talking about fine arts. Wasn't it just last year or the year before that we cut music teachers? We cut music teachers because we're in a deficit. We cut it down to 3 at the elementary.
At the elementary level, yes.
And so now we're hiring again.
You're hiring an additional teacher. I believe they wanted it for orchestra and mariachi.
And I can answer part of that too. I can answer part of that too, members of the board, Superintendent Borrego. So one of the things that we have been working on as a cabinet is on the 3 priorities that Dr. Borrego was given by the board, right? So I think we've memorized them to the point where we know them, and we understand that one of them on there was about student recruitment. Another one being the balanced budget, and obviously getting back to an A. But on the focus of those first two, of being on a balanced budget and on being able to recruit and retain students, we started asking at the request of the board to see why some of our students were leaving and not coming to our schools once they were enrolled here. I know Gus and his team were able to do that, and a lot of it was programming. One of the programming that we don't happen to have that is very common around El Paso ISD, which is our neighboring district, is orchestra in the middle schools. So we are trying to be proactive and giving a half teacher to each campus so that they can start recruiting for those orchestra rooms that are going to be built into those new schools. So this is going hand in hand with the construction, and it's not a full teacher, right? That fine arts teacher is a half teacher that we're bringing on there. A lot of these 8 teachers that we saw, we were working with master schedules and looking at how they could make it work. This is so that our middle schools particularly don't have class sizes that are above 28. Some of them were bleeding into 34 and 35. I know some of you have asked this question of administration, specifically about CMS and specifically about some of those classes that were reaching 40. So in order for it to work, after reviewing their schedules, it was imperative that we added some of those positions. We were able to shift some of them. The actual request is 12. So we were able to shift. Some enrollment was down in some other schools, able to shift them up. But as you can see, most of that reinvestment is specifically coming in those teachers to balance them out and to be able to work out their schedule.
So the only comment that I have,
Give me a second.
I still
Rico,
have the floor.
yes,
Can I finish?
But when do you stop, Ms. Maldonado?
When they're my questions have been answered.
The issue that I have right now is that, it's a trial and error, basically. We tested last year, it didn't work. We know that we need music teachers. You requested to have music teachers in the future, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing a reconfiguration of what we need simply because we went out to the public and we listened to the parents, and now we're seeing a reconfigured system. And that's my opinion. So what are we seeing? Can we eliminate some of these classrooms and not ask them to do anything? Yes. I think we will be out there listening to choir and once again be frustrated because the kids are not performing at the level that we're used to. But if we're going to scrutinize everything, to what point do we stop? Thank you.
My point, Mr. Martinez, is that, yes, when this came before us to eliminate these teachers, I was the only one on the board that said no, because I knew the impact. I knew the impact that it was going to have. And so now we're turning around and doing just what we knew was going to happen. We know, and we've been asking, I've been on this board too, asking, why is it that our students are leaving, right? So I just find it very ironic and very, call it what you want, Mr. Martinez, but we need to start doing things right. I know that it's trial and error, absolutely, but some of the restructuring that we're doing now is not necessary so that we can address specifically the needs that are impacting our kids.
That is not correct.
Okay, so
Ms.
that's
I would
my
like to make
opinion.
a comment. No, I just want to clarify that the reduction of the music teachers was at the elementary level, and that is staying exactly the same. This extra teacher that they're requiring or they're requesting is for the secondary level, and it is for those 2 programs. Again, we wanted to enhance the programs that were being taught in the secondaries. And again, like I said, it was orchestra and mariachi were the ones that the survey came up, and that's what they wanted. And so that's why we're hiring that 1 teacher for secondary.
And
The
is that
elementary
one teacher going to split
Yes,
between
ma'am.
the 2?
Yes.
How many teachers do you have, music teachers, right now at the high school, including the band director? You have the band director? Is that the only teacher for music? No.
No,
Right?
no. There's a teacher, I don't know how the number.
Because you took one
There's
of the
2.
elementary and put him at the high school.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And that was something that you had requested. If
So-
we had availability. We try and not, last year we tried not to eliminate bodies, teachers. We could find them someplace else. And so some of them went to the secondary level.
So does the number of participants at the high school music program, Does it justify however many teachers they have there?
So it's an ongoing target, and I appreciate your I hear your frustration, Trustee Maldonado, and again, I appreciate it because I believe it comes from a good place. The intent, to answer your question, the intent behind, as we open Northwest Early College to extracurriculars, it's going to increase the amount of students in band, in some of the fine arts programming, and so that's why we have the amount of teachers that we have at the secondary level. Obviously, we're trying to launch a 2 to 3 year kind of continuance plan where we're going to see our students start in middle school. They're going to start with orchestra. They're going to work their way up to mariachi. Eventually, when they get to the secondary, they'll continue with some kind of version of mariachi and band. And so again, it's to provide opportunities for our students so they can have access to these programs. And so again, I think the intent of the cabinet and the administration here is to be competitive with the surrounding districts. And I really appreciate you advocating for the music programs at the elementary level. That's something that's on the radar, but we're not quite ready to move on. I want to just be clear. We support fine arts here in Canutillo ISD. And so our students deserve a rich experience. And so that also includes academics, but also extracurriculars. And so this board has charged us. And again, I know that it comes from a good place and it's frustrating and I own it. Maybe we need to share better information. And so we'll get, it's been 4 months. We'll continue to get better with that sharing of information. And so again, the second board priority that I've been tasked with is recruit and retain students. And we're doing that by adding the programming. So as we move into the fall of next year, we'll look at the numbers that now include Northwest Early College, and we'll make adjustments as needed, and we'll bring the information to this board.
So I would like to make a comment.
May I have a turn? Could we use one of those high school?
Point of order. Ms. Maldonado, point of order. Let me make a comment. This allows the other trustees to have a voice also, please. And if you like, we'll come back to you. Is that okay, Ms. Maldonado?
I don't want to be disrespectful. I'll allow it. However, I find that in the previous meetings for the last 2 or 3 months, when it's not something that you don't want to hear, you tend to shut me up.
Ms. Maldonado.
So I will go ahead, and if I have questions, I will come back and redirect the questions.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado. Anybody else that
I do.
wants to voice their concern? Thank you.
It's not a concern. I just have some questions and a couple comments. So I've heard quite a bit on improving programming, and I feel like I have extensive experience in budgets, school budgets. I'm looking at this and I see improving programming. And if that's what this administration wants, because we've tasked him to improve programming in our schools, I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with, and I do agree with Ms. Maldonado, and that's probably why she's asking all those questions, is that, Dr. Borrego, we just need to do a better job at the why. Because I know this, and I have a few questions. Like, I would like to know why we're going to move on my questions are calendar adjustments. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. My job is to approve this budget and for us to be financially safe and fiscally responsible. And what you need to do to improve that programming, I'm going to support you in that until I can't, right? So I do have a couple questions, though, on the calendar adjustments. How many school psychologists do we have, number one? Because to me, once you increase calendar, you can never go back. You could never go back on a calendar increase. You could do stipend. I want to know why we need to increase from 190 days to 224. Now, I know it's very hard to get a school psychologist, so is it to keep the school psychologist because they're recruiting her somewhere else or him somewhere else?
So we have 3 positions, and only one is filled. And
Okay.
she will be resigning at the end of this year. So we're going to have 0.
Okay.
And I believe there is, first of all, the need. The SPED director has said that there is a need for these positions and to serve the students. And so she's the one that recommended if we could increase the days. In doing so, it would also make the salary more competitive so that we could go ahead and recruit some people.
So you just helped me right there, okay? I already knew that answer because I hired the school psychologist in my previous job. So I know that there is no school psychologist and it's very competitive. But had we let this board know, they'd be like, oh yeah, because we need school psychologists, right? Because we can't do without them because they're the ones that help our most vulnerable population, which is the SPED population. So understood with that. Now, speech language pathologists, are we running into the same problem with that? Is that why we're increasing the days as well?
Yes, so we're running into the problem on all of these that our neighboring districts have those increased amount of days. And so for the majority of these professionals, they would rather go, I mean, the need is great, like you said, all over the city, but they'd rather go there. And we're also contracting out services from those remaining days. So the contracted services are more pricey than the bump that we're giving.
So I asked that question here because here you just look at this, not just the board, but our parents and our community, and they're like, well, why are you increasing those? And we need social workers and we need this. The why is very important because I think you're doing great work, and I think that you're doing it to improve programming and what our kids need in the classrooms. I do think that communicating what that need is. Now, if you think a CFO is going to make you run with more rainy days, then that's great. That's on you. Our job is to approve the 1.6 million and ensure that it's not going to put us in a place where we're going to be fiscally irresponsible. So that's my comment on that. I do, and I don't always agree with Ms. Maldonado, but on this I do. I think that we put the cart in front of the horse, and because I understand this, but I understand this. You know, I did this work, but in all fairness to them, maybe they don't. And I think doing a better job at explaining it, because you're doing good work. This looks great to me. And it's a very common practice, board, just so that you know that you restructure the savings. You get positions that no longer serve the district. You eliminate them, and then you... and you've all said the word, you improve programming. So I'm going to end at that. And I think the study that you did, it doesn't have to be a TASB study. You don't have to spend money on TASB as long as you included all the stakeholders and you had staffing and you did it legitimately. I think those needs, they come out. Your principals, your teachers know what they need in those, and your community, you know, for the fine arts. That's it.
And Ms. Borrego, if I may add to our response, all of the savings that we found because of the increases here were reabsorbed into that budget presentation. So the savings from not having to contract out speech language pathologists, psychologists are all engulfed within that same budget presentation that Ms. Pooley gave, right? So yes, maybe we were not clear in the way we explained it, but it's a way to save money, to keep the money here, and to expand on that programming.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Barnes, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to clarify in regard to this teacher step increase. So I know that we have talked about doing step freezes in the past, but when did we do that, if at all? Just so that we can be clear.
So if you remember, for all of your administrative staff, this will be the fourth year where salaries are frozen. Of those 4 years, the first year we brought to this board to freeze the teacher pay scale, which meant if you look at the pay scale from that year, which is in our historical documents, a second year teacher was making the same as the next step, right? Because we were freezing it. It was not an uncommon practice. It continues to be done in other districts throughout our city. But we heard the request from the board. We unfroze it after that year. So efficiently, there was 1 year when we had it frozen. We're bringing our finances back. Teachers were the only ones to be unfrozen. You continue to have everybody frozen until last year. So last year, everybody below an assistant principal, with the House bill money, we were able to do a 1% increase. And then teachers were able to get not just a step increase, but also that 2,500 and the 5,000 that came from the House bill, right? It had nothing to do with our practices. So yes, teacher pay scales were frozen 1 year, unfrozen after that. All other pay scales were frozen until last year to get that 1%. The only ones that you have seen is assistant principal and above for 3 years. This is ending that third year.
Perfect, okay. And that was my understanding, so I wanted to clarify that, because when you said that we did not have a freeze this year, I just wanted to clarify that we had in the past, because that's what I remembered. Okay, so I'm glad that we're not freezing that. In regard to the calendar adjustments, I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So you're saying right now we are having to contract out for these positions because we don't have them filled, as you explained, and those contracted amounts, that money that we're paying for those contracted services would be more than the $80,924 that is allotted here within our budget.
So that is correct, right? And for two reasons. Number one, we have a vacancy that we can't fill, right? And it was through our research when we started to see every other district has that other calendar, number one. So it was paying for that vacancy. And number two, although we seem to think that all of our kids go and have a great summer and they don't come back, a lot of our kids, especially in populations of need, are here for an extended year, are here for summer school. So those summer services cannot be provided by somebody who does not work during the summer.
Okay.
Other school districts are doing that in our city to help with that because we're not getting reimbursed. Is that correct? We're not getting reimbursed for some of the things we already, okay.
That's good to know. Thank you for that. And so I don't know if you have this number offhand, but if you don't, I would be fine with receiving it in a Thursday packet. But I would be curious to see what our contracted amount that we pay for these services, since we don't have them with these additional calendar days, what is that total that we're looking at in regard to the difference of that 80, so that we can see that savings there? I think that would be helpful.
I'd love to say that I have that number in my head,
It's
but
okay.
we're gonna defer to our numbers person over there. And
I'm sure she doesn't have it right in front of her
I
either.
don't have it off the top of my, but we did look it up
Okay.
to do the comparison. But I can provide.
Do we
that
know
in-
approximately how much savings it is, or no?
I want to say it was it $90 an hour that we would? I believe it was
a lot.
$90 an hour that we would pay a contractor.
Okay, perfect. And then my last question, again, is clarification, but all of these, the new positions, the stipends, the step increase, all of these different things that we're looking at, calendar changes, all of those are built into this $1,240,000 difference, and that amount or that savings and the difference therein was built into the budget that you presented to us at the last meeting,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Okay.
And just also to point out the work that Ms. Pulley does, right? So it is built into the budget and it's interdependent. So like, let's say we're talking about psychologists, we remove that, well, then we have to add the contracted services, which will throw that bottom number that we had talked about before. This is fulfilling your vision of a balanced budget and then bringing it to you before that. And also, in regards to the budget, as you saw, news across the city, people use different ways to forecast, right? We were guilty of that in the past when we were using an attendance number that just was unrealistic. But we understood the pressures that we were in. Ms. Pulley is very conservative, and then we will be the first ones to advocate for her, because we are looking at savings at the end of the year as opposed to what you're seeing around town, around the state, to be honest, right? Of saying,
Right.
well, we were forecasting for more students, we were forecasting for higher attendance. We were off by 10 kids this year. All right,
Wow.
and that's all her hard work. On attendance, we're up more than 0.7 of a percentage point, which is a lot for us. So although it's not a perfect science, although it changes, although she can only forecast as much as she can, we can rest easy knowing that it's not going to be a major shift, right? At least from what we're seeing from the state this time around. I understand that you can probably say, well, you told us that story in the past, but keep in mind that it wasn't up to us.
Right.
There was a lot of calculations that the state was sending and continuing to send. For all intents and purposes, we are completed with that.
Well, and to that note, I want to say it has been hard to watch all of the news that has come out about the other districts, and I just want to give kudos to you, Ms. Pulley, and for all of you, because we did charge you with that, to budget as conservatively as possible, and then hopefully we would bring in some more money in addition that we could add to that. And so we're kind of seeing that now, and we stuck to the budget that we placed. There were very few changes, so I think we're seeing the light that a lot of other districts are not seeing right now, and so I'm grateful for that. So thank you for all your hard work. And I just want to clarify one last thing. So it says here that the recommendation would be for the new position requests the personnel reclassifications, the calendar adjustments, and the grant reclassification, but those other positions that are on the next agenda item are not part of this approval as of right now,
Yes,
correct?
The stipends and the step increase, those will be discussed in detail at the compensation presentation. And on this one, on personnel reclassifications, we are asking for approval for the new positions and the personnel reclassifications excluding the CFO and the Executive Director of Secondary, since that will be brought up in closed session.
Perfect.
And then the adjustments to the work calendars and the grant reclassification.
Perfect, thank you, I appreciate that.
And if I may just add, just keep in mind that this is not like a menu where we can pull from different things. Just kind of think of it like a home finance, right? If you decide, well, I'm not going to spend money on gasoline anymore, well, probably not going to get it to work, right? And if you don't get to work, it's going to, so it's the same thing here. When we start removing some of these things and moving some of these things around, it has another consequence on the other part of the budget. So that is why it's presented this way. That is the work of cabinet and Artie's days of late nights and working and thinking, okay, this is the way we can make all three of your priorities work.
I make a motion to approve the district restructure for.
I still have a question.
Okay, I'm just going to make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I make the motion to approve the district restructure for fiscal year 26-27 to include revised positions, personnel reclassifications, adjusted work calendars, and reclassification of grant funding, minus the two positions that Ms. Carrasco said, which is the Executive Director of Finance and the, help me out here,
Yes, the CFO position and the Executive Director of Secondary.
the CFO position and the Executive Director of Secondary.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion. Ms. Maldonado?
So, first of all, with that motion, you're including the positions and costs that are under the 8 teachers, Deanna Davenport, Assistant Principal, right? Deanna Davenport, Assistant Principal, correct?
That's correct.
So you're planning on hiring an assistant principal?
Yes, because they're giving up their librarian. This was in conversation with in discussion with the principal and with staffing, and that was to upgrade the funding for the librarian position so that they can have an assistant principal.
But it excludes the executive director in secondary, because we will be discussing that?
Yes, because those are positions that do require board approval.
Okay. And then the CCMR coach, that's a new position for the high school, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So now my question is, under the savings, you mentioned that all of those are eliminated because they were vacant?
Yes, some were vacant. Well, they will be vacant at the end of this school year.
Okay, but, so you mentioned the IT, the district travel clerk, the IT security specialist. That's vacant currently?
No, ma'am. It's at the end of the year.
So that's my question, like the Alpac aides. They will become vacant because whoever is in that position now is either retiring, because we're not doing a reduction.
We offered them transfers to other positions. For example, you're approving aide positions here, the 6 like sped aides. So they were offered other positions to transfer into.
Because we don't need the Alpac aides anymore?
They're in the restructuring, Dr. Borrego.
So yes, I can address that. Part of it, when we looked at the LPAC aides, if you look at the other page where it has the new position requests, some of them are being repurposed into SPED aides. So we see that we had a higher priority, a higher need with SPED. We still require LPAC aides, but we're going to also shift some of the responsibility to campus administration, specifically the assistant principal. Currently, the assistant principal isn't as involved as we would like. When we look at accountability for PEMS reporting, when we look at some of those issues, we wanted to make sure that there was someone with an administrative degree overseeing that reporting so we could get it correct. And so besides the assistant principal, we are also going to provide support via a campus-based teacher that will provide a stipend at a future date. And so now they'll lead by committee versus the LPAC aide. Traditionally, under the old model, the LPAC aide was testing, prioritizing, coding, doing all of that by themselves. Now, one LPAC aide will have 2 campuses at the elementary level, and they'll also be assigned an assistant principal and a teacher to help with the processing and paperwork and oversight that needs to happen.
So just to confirm, from the 3 LPAC aides that you are reallocating, there's going to be 6 new positions for special ed aides.
That is correct.
And out of those are the 3 that were bilingual aides.
Yes, they were offered that position.
So again, to confirm, none of the positions or under the reallocation of resources are being vacated, because if they are currently vacated, these people are losing their job.
Some, you only have
Besides the
2.
retirees, of course.
You have 2. The IT security specialist and the prevention specialist facilitator. He told me he was retiring.
And then the IT specialist, you said that you offered him a different position?
No, it was just a change in services. So the services that the district was provided by newer technology, I'm sure that a lot of industries, as you've seen on the news, are being improved by artificial intelligence and other programs and other contractors. So it just became a position that the district could reallocate those funds elsewhere. There is
Okay.
currently a vacancy in that department, and Ms. Carrasco and the IT director have reached out and said, hey, this is a position that you may apply an interview for. The reason why there was not a placement is because we don't know if the necessary skill set is matched the same way.
So to confirm again, at least 2 of these positions are vacated because they are no longer going to be employed with CISD.
Yes. And the reason why it was not included in a reduction of force, or why it wasn't called a reduction in force, as Mr. Blanco stated when the reduction in force was presented, those are for chapter contracts, which is your educators, right? Your teachers, your principals, certain staff at curriculum and instruction. Those have a different contract that require a reduction in force. We did not have to do anything with those contracts. That's why this was a restructure and not a reduction in force.
Thank you. Ms. Maldonado? Mr. Rodriguez, go ahead.
Did you all have any questions? I'll let.
Are you?
Yeah.
So when I got
Ortega,
the
go ahead.
packet, when I first got the packet and I saw the numbers, I was just really happy to see that we had a savings after the restructure savings, and the fact that we were going to put it back into our children by offering them things like music and fine arts, which is something that I had requested because when I went to the middle school and I saw that our fine arts teachers had so many students, I was concerned, and I am happy to see that you are putting the money back and investing it into our children, so I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Mr. Rodriguez?
One, I do want to thank staff. I know it's getting tougher and tougher, and it's not going to get any easier depending on the legislative outlook and the elections. But as we continue to see the possible privatization of public education and the increase again into what really affected us this past year, which is the homestead exemption, and they're going to look at increasing it to possibly $1 million, which then is just going to continue to really shift the money that is going to come to us. So we're going to continue to make tough decisions. But over the last 2 years, the board has been had to make some tough decisions to put us where we're at, because if not, it compounds a problem. That was what I was questioning 3-4 years ago, especially when we thought the legislator was going to come in and we gave that pay raise, and yet they didn't come through, and they continue to compound our problem. And that's what's really going on, is the state is not putting their fair share and trying to shift to privatization of public ed. So I thank you all throughout the years. I know we've worked diligently, and so I think over the years that's what has really put us in the position where we're at. And that's why I think we're questioning this stuff. And to me, I'm not no expert. I'm not an educator, and you have several people that have been in the educational field, so they understand the micro part of it, and I don't. I'm more of looking at the numbers, especially when it comes to central office, and that's my concern. And the presentation that we had last meeting in comparison to this, and that's why I was hoping we had a budget presentation. In regards to the new position requests and the restructured savings, it looks like you have the teacher retirement separations, which are, 6 teachers, but then we have 8 teachers, and you mentioned the 2 teachers that we're looking at, one being the music, and I believe the other was, I'm trying to recollect.
Spanish.
Advanced Spanish. And I do agree, we have to really focus in the classroom and looking at expanding programs and being innovative on how maybe we could be a lot better as we see as we move into the future. So the restructured total savings and then the increase of new positions, my question is, how much is that of central office? I wish it was broken down from central office to direct classroom. Can you get that number?
You want me to separate all this by?
Well, you could provide that in the Friday packet, but it
Okay.
would have been, my concern here is, how many positions have we eliminated in central office? But we've reclassified, so I mean, we're eliminating, but we're not because we're reclassifying it. So
the spreadsheet that I provided on Friday to the board includes all of the central office, what's considered central office positions. And you all have that list. I think that was provided to you. Overall, I think there was 268 individuals on that were mentioned on that spreadsheet.
Can you just break it down? Give me how many positions?
Sure. So the original spreadsheet from the original org chart was from 4/8/25. It was 317. And now the org chart as it stands proposed on 5/19/26 is 268.
268, you're talking about central staff capital, not including, this is just HR?
No, it's not HR. It's what's considered
budget?
central office. Yes.
So these are positions that were eliminated or restructured, or these are the total number?
So that's the total final
Total.
number. Some were eliminated. And so I want to be clear, a lot of this work was started by Dr. Galavis and his team, which is many of the people we have sitting here, and they've done an incredible job, and I give credit to this board as well, because those were hard decisions that we had to make year over year. And so we're just trying to continue that work. Our central office as a whole is smaller than it was last year by number and also by total dollar amount. So if you look at the, again, it says 4/8/2025, total central office staff was 317. As of 5/19/26, we now have 268.
With the difference being 49? No, 49, I'm talking about total dollar amount.
Ms. Pulley, do you have that information? Or Ms. Carrasco?
Yes, the information was on that spreadsheet. Not only was it the numbers by individuals, but it also had.
I'm asking
a
for the
dollar
public. The other reason why I'm asking, the fact that in the past, our community, or part of our constraints was that we would have this information to us a week before the board meeting, and we actually got this on Friday during a weekend of Memorial Day weekend. And so I would request that we go back to that of providing the information. And not only that, I think we need to provide it to the public, because I tried to go back to some of the budget workshops. I know we got emails, actually this budget, May 5th, that workshop, we got it, was it the day before, or the day of? And so it's tough for us as board members, but it's also not being transparent to the community if we're not making those attachments to the board book.
So I don't have those sheets in front of me, but it was over $2 million in savings between last year and this year for the cuts that were made.
So I have it in the previous spreadsheet that we presented to this board in the prior month, and we can include it for public viewing as well. So the actual cost of central office personnel in 2024 was $12,592,242. In 2025, it was $11,790,405, which was a reduction of $1,466,342. And then for 2026, it went from 11.7 to $10,443,062, which was a reduction of $1,283,438. The projected, which is what you would be approving, is $10,133,462, which is $309,600 less than the 26 personnel allocation for central office. So to recap.
Is there allocation in regards to different title money? Because what title money is being used, and have we, I know in the past there's been discussions. Yeah, you would know
1, 2,
better.
and 4, yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 4.
What has been shifted in that, and can you explain that?
So I believe you're provided the spreadsheet that has all central office and the different funding sources. It had the general fund and then anybody else who was funded through grant funds or other sources.
I have it right here, but can you
And then-
please explain that for the community?
So depending on their role that they play, for example, bilingual, there is some grant funds or entitlements that we can tap into. The same for special ed. It has instruction, correct.
What I'm asking is the total dollar amounts. That's what I want to see.
I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but it did have the total of what we're paying for grant funds for anybody who's at Central.
How much have we shifted from last year to this year in regards to those funds coming out from whichever funds? I'm not the technical expert, but I'm sure Lucy over here could provide some insight unless you can't.
Shifted as far as how?
In other words, are we all paying everything from Title I like we previously, or have we used other title money to help augmentate some of the central office staff?
You can't.
Well,
You can't use title money for.
let her finish.
So there's only certain positions that can be funded. They have to either support or they have to be allowable within the grant.
But previously, we didn't do that.
Yes,
And
we
within
did.
this
We
budget?
actually, in the past, we had a lot of positions funded through title money, and we did the shift from soft money into 199. That happened probably about 6 years ago, where we tried to fund and so that we could ensure that they weren't funded with soft money. So that shift came about, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And so now as we're looking at programming, we're finding ways to be able to support the different programs that are being implemented to bring our numbers up, to
Or
bring.
that have been present, right?
I'm sorry?
Not just that new programs that are being implemented or existing programs as
Existing
well?
programs to enhance them, whether it's to provide the additional support at the campus, whatever it is that we can do and whatever funding that we can utilize to be successful, that's what we're doing.
And what's that total dollar amount from last year to this projected budget?
I would need to look to see what that is. I think we may have shifted some of our 255 monies, which is providing professional development for our principals. We did do that shift, but we shifted it from training into personnel and it's only a portion of it. It's not the entire position. So as some of our leaders are providing PD for our principals and our teachers, we shifted some of those funds, some of those title monies into that position to help support that program. Does that answer your question?
I would like to see that in the Friday packet as well.
I can do that. I can show the different, whatever it is that we shifted over. It's been small percentages because our monies are still, they're tied up to different allocations that we still fund.
Is that okay with the rest of the board to go to that practice of a week before it needs to be posted? I know sometimes it doesn't, but I.
Posted like on the.
Well, for sure, it should be posted on the board agenda when it's posted. That should not, like, there's information that the community's not getting, like this presentation, which we got on Friday, and it could have easily been posted.
Mr. Rodriguez, are you saying that if we have a meeting on Tuesday, if it's posted that Thursday, would be okay?
What I'm saying is the information that's going to be provided to the board should be provided to the community at that point in time. What we did have was a constraint that allowed it for us to get a week before, so that way we would have ample time to actually look at those questions, and Ms. Barnes would know about that.
Yes, in regard to that, the constraint is there, but I'll be the first to state that I don't think it's been followed for a really long time. You know me, I love to do my homework, so I'm always about getting the stuff as early as possible, but if the week ahead of time is not viable for central office, then we need to look at maybe changing that constraint so that we're following it correctly.
I think this,
Yeah.
that's right.
Let me go back to my,
I think this is something that we need to look at all as a board and come to a consensus whether or not we want to change it. But right now, let's stick forward and let's follow with the agenda. Mr. Rodriguez, are you finished? Or?
I have two more questions.
Go ahead.
Steve, real quick, is it okay for us to ask that this, especially like this presentation, should have been posted when the meeting was posted so the community could see?
At a future meeting, you can.
But I can't ask that of this specific agenda item?
You can ask it, but you can't vote on it.
No, I'm not asking to vote. I mean, I'm asking if that's,
Well, you're asking the rest of the board,
Okay.
so they cannot vote on it, so no.
okay. And then going back to position reclassifications, what methodology did you use to increase these positions or decrease? I could understand the calendar adjustments, which were market-driven, and Ms. Borrego brought those up, as well as a better explanation of that. But my question is, what methodology did you use?
So part of it, one of the things that we looked at, we know that CMS is currently under TA watch. And so it has been, I think this is the 5th year, if I'm not mistaken. And so part of it is the work behind SPED and, making sure that their paperwork is in order. And so when you look at what we're requesting, autism teachers, SPED aides, we're looking at priorities to make sure that we're shoring up areas of deficiency that we found throughout the district. The other piece that we're looking at, again, was programming, specifically as it ties to board priorities. Board priorities were the first, was balance the budget, recruit and retain students, and then, of course, become an 8 district again. And so anything that ties to those priorities, we went ahead and reallocated those funds to support the board's wishes.
Dr. Borrego, I don't have a problem with that. I get that part, and that's your expertise. What I'm asking is, especially the executive director of finance, we have 2 positions that you're bringing to the board in executive session, possibly for increases. And my question is, as an HR director or as somebody that's going to hire, you just don't put a number when you're going to hire. You have to create a methodology to see what the market is. And so that's my question.
Received.
Ms. Carrasco, do you have an answer for that, please?
Yes, this was part of the restructuring that was talked about in cabinet, and also about the workload. For example, I can say that in the executive director of finance, last year, we cut the chief business officer. And so those duties now have been assigned to the executive director of finance. On top of that, we passed a bond. And so all the bond issues that are coming up are also under her purview. So basically, you've collapsed the executive director of finance and the chief business officer. So those duties now are on one person. And so basically, there is an upgrade to that position to the chief financial officer.
So I would think I want to clarify, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rodriguez. He's asking for the methodology for what we came up, I guess, for the not only the job, but also the pay range. And so when you look across the region, I know when we have first moved, I think it was Dr. Rico and Gustavo, we had done a comparison to districts like our size, also in the region and across the state. And we looked at market competitives and what the pay was for that differentiated labor based on those statistics. And so we can go ahead and provide that information again. Again, it's a classification of jobs ranging from superintendent, all the way down to director.
And it is within our current board-approved pay scales.
In regards to that, there is a process and a methodology. What I would like to see is how that happened. In regards to, we all are doing more with less, and I think especially everybody in our district, and some of us have been doing a lot more with less previously. And so in regards to, I want to see what that market is. Are we looking at, we've seen what those methodologies are. I was just hoping that was done.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
And I actually want to make sure that we're competitive. That's been one of my biggest things, especially when people are doing more with less, and making sure that we're not losing our high-quality teachers and our staff, because that's what it's about. We'll just go into executive session and see.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. One of the things that I like to commend for all the energy and effort that took to get to this point, but I agree with Ms. Maldonado. Those asterisks, those positions that we're looking at, bring us all the information, because we want to make an educated decision with the information that's presented before us. We want to make sure that we have a balanced budget, number one. We want to make sure that we increase the days that we have funded. We got to have that information right at hand. In the past, we've gone from one board meeting to the other, and we have a balanced budget, and before we know it, we're $3 million in the hole. And that's why I think Ms. Maldonado is correct. We want to make sure that we're able to see all those details that are critical. If we're going to raise the salaries here, I don't have a problem with it. However, I want to make sure that we do an analysis across the board, and we fully understand as to why we're getting raises to some of these individuals that I believe they're very, very well deserved that raise. But with that in mind, I think if we are provided with all those asterisks that are critical, give us more information. I think that's all we're asking. Please, we don't want to be in this position where we have a riff all of a sudden. And last 2 years, we eliminated some music teachers. And to me, that was probably a very negative. But I made a decision to vote for it simply because we needed to cut the funds. As simple as that. I could have said no. And the reality, I think we're going to be in the hole. And I wanted to avoid that 100%. But I voted for it. And yes, we need to improve some of those classrooms. Music is important. We saw some of the kids said before us. And to be honest, it was very poorly organized, poorly performance from the kids. That means that they're not spending time really in their classroom practicing. And I know Dr. Borrego was not here, and it's happened before, but he is now responsible, Dr. Borrego, put those little details, more information into some of these presentations. And if we have to reduce some of that information or some of the items in the agenda and provide more data, that's what we need to do so.
Yes, sir.
Through the chair, I have two questions.
Go ahead, Ms. Maldonado.
Ms. Carrasco, you mentioned that there's a bond person or a bond that Ms. Pulley handles. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought we had a specific person, an individual, that handles the bond in finance.
They process payment applications. They monitor the budget. So they do more of the legwork that goes into the financial portion. However, I am overseeing the bond, ensuring that our due diligence calls go through properly. Any defeasance, any refundings, all of those require quite a bit of additional information that's provided to underwriters. All of this that happens every year as we do new issuances is what I'm overseeing and making sure that all the bond is still, I'm the investment officer for the district, that it's earning the correct interest, that we're investing it in the proper investment accounts. So I'm overseeing the overall finance portion of the bond.
Okay, and then the other question, Dr. Rico, you mentioned, and Ms. Pulley, all these 8 positions that not 8 positions, but all the new position requests, the 8 teachers, the Deanna Davenport assistant principal, the executive director of secondary, the 6 SPED aides, the 3 autism teachers, is that special pathologists or psychologists? Psychologist. And the CCMR coach for a total of $1,674,171, right?
Correct.
Is included in what Dr. Rico was, the spreadsheet, where it's for the projected for 2027, $10,133,462.
So that includes personnel that is classified as central office or not campus-based. A lot of these are campus-based, right? Like the teachers, the assistant principal, the aides. What you're going to have included on that number is going to be the executive director of secondary and the specialized SPED staff, right? So like the grant-funded SLP, the partially grant-funded CCMR coach, those are included, but not the ones that are campus-based, which is the majority, right? The 8 teachers, the 1 assistant principal, the 6 SPED aides, and the 3 additional autism teachers. Those are not in those figures because they're campus-based.
Okay, so those are not included in the 10,100.
No, just the ones that are
So the
central-based.
reclassification and restructuring at central office that you have done is included in this amount,
Yes, ma'am.
the 10,133,462.
Yes, ma'am.
All the reorganization, the chart, and everything that you've done is included here, is
Yes.
budgeted in here. Okay.
There's a motion, and I hear a second.
So just to clarify, the motion does not include what we will be discussing in executive session?
That's correct.
Correct, I
Correct?
excluded it, yes.
It's excluded.
Okay.
Go ahead, Adrian.
Or the stipends or the step increase?
Correct.
That's correct. That'll be in the next presentation.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
Thank you, Board.
Item 4B, discussion and action to approve the district compensation plan and stipends for the 2026-2027 school year. Presenter, Ms. Martha Carrasco.
Okay, so here we have the specifics on what we're requesting for compensation for next school year. And of course, we are proposing a step increase for teachers. And the estimated cost on that, as we mentioned already, is $169,500. If you remember, we did an HB2 adjustment last year, and this is already embedded in the teacher pay scale from step 3 to step 25. Also, so we had the money for, it's called TRA, which was the teacher retention allotment. We also got money for the support staff retention allotment. And if you recall, what we did last year is that we took some of that money to give an increase or to the teachers, the 0, 1, and 2, because HB2 did not give funding for those steps, 0, 1, and 2. And so last year, what we did, using this money, we increased 0 year by $500, year 1 by $1,000, and year 2 by $1,250. And that was the increase that we had done last year. Last year, we paid for teachers in those steps $30,750. This year, the estimated total compensation for this group, 0, 1, and 2, is $28,500. Also, if you want the district stipends, and this is the breakdown, it includes fringes. We calculated fringes on that, and we're asking for 13 dyslexia stipends for a total of $7,345. Athletic stipend increase, and this was recommended by Coach Brooks. That's a total of $11,255, and it is for basketball, for volleyball, for football, for baseball, and for track. So the stipends that are allocated, he's requesting an increase on those stipends. Then we've had 2 athletic trainer stipends in the total of $11,300. Again, this is something that Coach Brooks is recommending. We had one cheer stipend increase, $565. We had 1 teacher incentive allotment for data support, $1,695. And then we had 12 lead autism stipends in the amount of $13,560. And that last one, the $13,000, again, it's got the asterisk, that is grant funded. So the total stipend allocations that we're requesting is $45,720. So for every other employee, due to our budget limitations, and as we said, it's been, I know Ms. Pulley is looking at the budget from a very conservative angle. Administration at this time is not recommending the traditional general pay increase for school year 26-27. If you recall, usually we come before you and ask you for a 1%, 2%, 3% as a general pay increase across the board. But because of our budget limitations at this point, we're not requesting that. But I do want to acknowledge that most employees on the administrative pay scale have not received a general pay increase for 3 consecutive years so far. So just for the board to make note of that you have employees that have not gotten a raise for 3 years. So what we're proposing is that we're calling it an employee retention stipend of $500. And this would be for all leave accruing employees. It's a proposed stipend. That total stipend is going to cost us $522,625 to give that stipend across the board to teachers, to every employee in the district. But however, there's a contingency on that one. It will be contingent on available funding to be paid in December 2026. So if we have the money to be able to afford this $500 employee retention stipend, then we will pay it in December. So right now, what I do want to ask, and administration recommendation at this point, is the approval of the step increase for teachers, the approval of the stipend allocations for district personnel, and the approval of the retention stipend for all leave accruing employees, but only contingent on available funding and to be paid in December 2026.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Barnes.
Can you clarify leave accruing employees?
They are accruing your state leave and local leave. For example, if we have a tutor, that's not considered leave accruing.
Okay.
Substitutes are not considered leave accruing. So I didn't want to just say all employees. I want to make sure that I differentiate by what I mean about, an employee.
Full-time employees,
that makes sense.
basically,
So-
right?
Pardon me?
Full-time employees?
Yes, and our bus drivers, even though, and our monitors, we consider them part-time, but they are leave accruing.
They still get leave through the
Yes.
district. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, what does contingent mean? Like, how can you do that?
In other words, you want to do?
Is that legally?
So here's like that budgeting on hope thing, but we're not going to upfront that money, right? So there's a reason why we want to bring it to you now. For those of you sitting on the board that are TRS or TRS retirees, TRS uses your salary calculation per year to figure out your pension at the end. The only way these $500 could be included in that employee's salary is if it's approved before the start of the school year, right? So we bring it to you for approval. However, we will only do it if there are savings from this fiscal year, if there is increase in enrollment, if something happens where we have this contingent funding. If we do not have it, we would not be able to pay it.
I'm not sure what that means, so.
So I can tell you, so what happens is, if we pay this in December, at the end of the year when TRS calculates that salary.
No, I know what that means, but what does contingent mean? You have to have a surplus of $1, you have to have a surplus of $1 million, you have to have a surplus of $2 million. They can't vote on it and approve it unless you set parameters for it.
Okay, I think Chrissy has those parameters.
So as we progress through the year, we'll get snapshot numbers in October. in which we'll recalculate revenues. We also get certified values for our property taxes. So like I said, I do budget conservatively. So if there is additional funding available to be able to still keep a balanced budget and be able to pay these stipends, at that point we will pay the stipends. But we do need it to be approved. The stipends themselves need to be approved in order to be included as TRS eligible compensation
But that's
prior to.
I'm sorry, but that's a separate issue. That's an individualized employee issue. You're talking about a budgeted concern here for the board to approve. You need to tell them at what amount the budget has to be at in order to approve this in advance.
In other
You can't
words,
just say, we might, we maybe will, depending on how we feel about the budget. If you're saying you have to have an excess of
$22,625.
If you have to have that excess, then you'll pay it, you guys can approve it. But if you're not giving a specific number, it can't just be some etherical number out there where you're thinking.
that makes
what might it
sense.
be?
In other
Doctor,
words,
point of order.
you have to give us a number, yeah.
Yeah,
Point of
so
order.
the number is if we have a surplus of $522,625 come December, that stipend would be paid.
Oh, it's either a surplus or out of, well, the fund balance. But we have to, I mean, if it's a budget item, and that's what I was gonna ask, is this even in the budget? What you're saying
No,
it's not?
this is not in the budget. So we would bring it forth to the board as a budget amendment. In order for us to increase revenues and allocate for these stipends, it would come for approval.
I think that's a question that the superintendent needs to answer. Yes,
Well,
sir.
I think it's critical. I mean, one
Yes.
is, I mean, we're promising stuff that's not in the budget, in the row. Question is, if it doesn't come through, then it looks bad. The other is, there's a methodology to budget as well. And the fact that either we're not forecasting and we're trying to say there's a surplus, then it adds more concerns. So I get what we're trying to do, but there's a methodology when we're budgeting to say if this is within the budget or if it's not. And if we think it might be, then there's some serious concerns.
So we were looking at, part of the negotiations that the district is currently for some of the land sale, and that's what we were looking at to fund, this increase. And so, again, we haven't finalized anything, and so we're still waiting on that, and so that's why we've been leery to go ahead. Part of our intent was to go ahead and, help shore up the retirement account, but I'm willing to forego that language and just say, hey, if it's available, based on $522,625.
But if you're gonna, my apologies, if you're gonna do that, why don't you just, when you have the money, bring it to us in December and then we do it then? Why are we doing it now? It's real, and I get what you were trying to do, trying to help people, so their TRS checks a little better, but, that's just not good practice, I don't think. You wait and bring it in December and say, oh, we have the money, we have all this money, can we give a $500 stipend? And then we make the decision. That's my thought.
Dr.
My
Borre-
understanding is that the administration doesn't want to wait until December because of the TRS creditable compensation issue, which is fine. I was just visiting with Ms. Pulley. My recommendation is we bring it back in June as part of the budget. I personally have not seen this done before as a contingency, but I'm being told that it has been done other places. I'd want to see it, and I'd like to research it and tell the board in June before. I'll have an answer for the administration within a couple of days, but that way the board will know that you can do this, because what you're essentially doing is making a promise to pay in the future contingent on something that may or may not happen. So I'm not sure that's proper from a budgeting standpoint. I want to be certain that it is before we have you guys vote to approve it. The other thing I want to point out is it would have to be a one-time only stipend. It's not, stipends are generally paid going forward. We need to make sure whatever vote we have on it, that it's a one-time only, like a
And-
retention stipend.
Thank you, Steve, and that is correct, Dr. Borrego. Let's look at the board meeting in June. Let's get more information, let's see what we can do, and hopefully by that time, we'll have a better understanding where we're gonna be sometime in October, November, so that we can give the teachers a stipend in December.
Yes,
Through
sir.
the chair.
Ms. Maldonado, go ahead.
So again, I need a little bit more detail. On your detailed breakdown, you're just saying dyslexia stipends. Can you explain that for me, please?
So House Bill 2 passed some compensation issues that some dyslexia stipends have to be paid. and can only be paid from general funding. So that is where those stipends are coming from. It's an unfunded mandate where we have to pay those stipends because of House Bill 2. I don't know if you wanted to expand on that.
So is it coming from the state, or we have to fund
The
it?
mandate is coming from the state.
But we have to fund it?
Correct.
So who does it go to? Dyslexia, the teachers, the ones that teach dyslexia, who, I need more information.
I'm not sure who
To the teachers
it's to the teachers.
To the teachers that
that are teaching.
like you're at-risk teachers?
There are some, Ms. Mena has designated some that are going to be working with dyslexia. And so those are the ones that she's designated 13 teachers.
It's whoever's providing those services, Ms. Maldonado, to the dyslexic
So
students.
I know from my time in education, your at-risk teachers, if they had the training to teach dyslexia, students that fell under 504, they taught them. So my question is, are they included in these 13? See, we need more detail. At least I need more details.
Good evening. That's a really good question. We can have Ms. Mena help us to answer that. But we did receive grant funding, and that's helping us to pay for the support. But she can detail that a little bit better for you all in a Thursday packet.
Is the grant money 100% to pay the difference?
To pay, yes, that's what it's for. It helps to supplement that.
Thank you, Ms. Kearney.
Yes.
The other question was the teacher incentive allotment.
Yes.
Again, please explain that to me.
So we receive data support through individuals from central office. Some work in HR, some work in IT. So we provide TIA stipend for that because it's additional work on top of their normal responsibilities.
So we approved this earlier in the year.
Yes.
But yet now through the reconstruction, the restructure organization under Dr. Borrego, you have a specific person who is now, you're creating a position for this
Yes.
person to help the TIA person.
Right. So our TIA individual does the major responsibilities of data analysis, but there are some additional duties that also need to be fulfilled, like work with PEEMS and winter submission and all of that, that we do need the support of other individuals. And so in order to support that, we are able to use TIA funds, and that is applicable under the law.
So the $1,695 is going to come from TIA.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's going to be to the same person that received the stipend last
It's
semester?
an additional person that should have received a stipend. We just want to make sure that we compensate everybody.
This
Okay,
is
so-
it's an
Yes,
IT
ma'am.
person.
Yes, ma'am.
So we approved somebody to help this person with TIA.
Yes.
Okay?
So
And
TIA
we
is a
approved a
vast.
stipend.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
I understand all that.
Yes, ma'am.
We approved the stipend last semester, if you guys remember. All right. So now you're asking for an additional stipend for another person?
Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, if you're restructuring and you're creating a position from CNI person, individual, to go into this one,
Yes.
I don't understand why we're needing now
Because-
two different people?
That's a good question, but the person that's going into CNI is going to do a different role than what this stipend pays for. So that's why this stipend would go for this duty.
Is this a one-time thing?
Yes.
Just like the one
stipends
from
are only
last
given once
semester was
year.
a one-time
Yes,
thing as
ma'am.
well?
They're only given once a year, and we do have the funding for it, and that's what it's allocated for. Yes, ma'am.
And then again, and more detail, 12 lead autism stipends. Is that for the teachers, for the lead teachers, what?
So the grant is to support students that are autistic in the classroom. And so the funding provides professional development and other supports. And so that's what we can use it for. But again, I will ask Ms. Mena to help us prepare something to give you more detail on that.
And that's grant funded?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They wrote a grant. They received a significant dollar amount. And so that's going to really be able to help us to support our increasing autism population that we have here in the district. Our special education department of students is increasing dramatically, so that's why we are in need of the support. Yes, ma'am.
And then back to the $500 contingent, if we have the money available. So you said that it goes to all leave accruing state and local leave people that are eligible, including administration at the campus, at central office, correct?
Every employee, yes.
So if some of the positions here have required a promotion and a salary increase, they too are eligible for the $500 stipend, one-time
Yes,
stipend?
It's for every employee.
Okay. And then the last one. When was the last year that you increased the athletic trainer stipends, the cheer stipend, the athletic stipend increases? When was the last year that there was an increase in the stipend?
I want to say it's been at least a couple of years. I know that Coach Brooks has been very cognizant of the fact that our budget situation, and I think this is the first time he's come around in at least maybe 3 years in asking for an increase on these stipends. He did provide me with a list of stipends. He did his own analysis and comparing with other districts. And so these areas that are here that I mentioned are the ones that he noticed that there was an increase in stipends at the other districts. And so he asked if we could be somewhat comparable or comparable to what the other districts were paying.
You know, it just, I wish we could give a raise to everybody. I really do. And I know that you're going to come back and say, well, they got a 1% last year from HB3 or HB2, and teachers got. But that wasn't from us. It was from the state, correct?
That's correct.
I agree. Administration at campus levels have not gotten a raise.
That's correct.
Administration at campus levels, your principals, your assistant principals, they have not. Under HB2, was it HB2?
Yes, ma'am.
There were some people that fell into that category that they were able to get the 1%, like your counselors, I believe, or librarians. But actual principals and assistant principals have not gotten an increase, a salary increase at all. And so I know that you all are telling me, you know, it's the scope of work, that's what justifies the promotion and the increase, but everybody's hat is full. And I've always said it as an advocate for a teacher wears a hat in many colors. You're giving the assistant principals an extra duty responsibility under ALPAC, like Dr. Borrego just explained it. It's an extra responsibility. Is she getting a salary increase because now her plate is getting fuller? No, she's not. Your assistant principals at the campuses? They're not. You're adding more to that plate. So I have a really huge issue when you're willing to compensate certain people for adding more to their plate. And I understand the competitiveness. I understand about wanting to keep these people because they're marketable. But are we really in a position to do all this? Again, I'm going to repeat it. I don't want to be in the news like El Paso ISD and Isleta. I don't. I'd rather that if we have some savings, that we be frugal about them. You have $1,000 extra in your savings account, let's spend it. I don't have that mentality. And I wish we would just really think about this. Not saying that they don't deserve it. Whoever's on this stipend list, I'm not saying that. If it's grant funded, fantastic. However, we really have to think about the reality of all this. And again, I would like more detail when you're presenting this, please. You know, because even me, I know about some of this stuff, but that's why we're asking questions. That's why I'm asking questions, and then I'm shut down because I'm asking too many.
Well,
but if you provided more details, it would help. Thank you.
I know that for some of the programs, like, for example, cheer, we have to ask for an increased stipend because it's very difficult to find people that are willing to be cheer coaches and things like that sometimes. And so if we're going to be able to have these programs, that's sometimes why we have to increase, because people don't have to do it. It's extra on top of what they are already doing. So we try to make it a little bit more attractive for them. I also want to say that for TIA, we have to spend all of the money annually. So that's not money that we can just save or spend on other things. It has to be used for TIA, and so we have to promote that program by using those funds in that way.
What's the percentage that the district receives from the TIA allotment?
The
For every teacher?
percentage?
For every teacher? Because there's a certain percentage.
Oh,
For
10%,
when the
10%.
teacher gets either recognized or exemplary or masters,
Yes, ma'am.
there's a certain percentage that the district gets.
The district retains 10%, and
For
then the
every-
teacher gets 90%. That's
for
our
every
spending
TIA
plan.
recipient.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the funds that have to be used back into a TIA
Yes,
program.
to promote the program
Okay.
and to keep it going, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead, Ms. Borrego.
I'm going to make a motion, and then I need to make a comment to my motion. My first is my comment. What I would like you to do, Dr. Borrego and staff, is that with the savings that we have, I want us to look into, I know we're going to look into grants for those social workers, but I want us to look at if we can't get a grant, how we could fund them, because mental health is huge, and we're losing those social workers, and I think it's very important. Putting it on one or two that we're going to have for a district this size is too much. So I would like us, please, if I could get something, if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to make a motion to approve the district's compensation plan and stipends for the 26-27 school year, with the exception of the employee retention stipend that we will bring back in June.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion by Ms. Borrego, second by Ms. Barnes.
I do have a
Any more
question.
comments? Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
In regards to going back to methodology or cost comparison with districts, this is a lot easier. Have we done any analysis within the stipends, since you're not using a study?
Yes, we have.
That would have
Do you
been
want me
good
to
backup
provide that?
information.
I can provide that information in the Thursday packet.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. You put the districts, you put cheer coach or assistant.
Yes, we've done that.
But that gives us a better look, because I don't see, I'm hoping it gets better, but if it doesn't, we're going to have to figure out how we still compete with the market as we continue to downsize staff without any state funding. And so we don't want to lose quality teachers and or quality coaches, and we have to treat some of these people that have stipends with respect. Because whether it's 500 or 1,000, sometimes they go above and beyond. And I think we've let some of these people down without even just thanking them for their work, because the stipend's not even enough.
Mr. Chair,
I agree.
if I can add to that, so as an employee, not here, but in the past, who was a coach, a cheer coach of all things, with a very small stipend, for all of our sponsors and our coaches that work under stipends, they're never acknowledged enough, and we need to say thank you for that. And I know that whether or not you're on this list of increased stipends, new stipends, you are appreciated, and we couldn't run these programs without you. So I think that needs to be stated, and we need to do a good job of recognizing and acknowledging all of those sponsors and coaches as they keep our district athletics and extracurriculars running. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Go ahead.
Just like who's requesting it?
Ms. Borrego?
Ms. Borrego or Mr. Rodriguez. And I appreciate the willingness to provide it in the Thursday packet, but again, that's after the fact, because we're going to vote on something today, and we need this information to be able to, like Mr. Martinez said earlier, for us to be knowledgeable about what we're doing here. Not that we're dumb, but I would like all those details before I vote, not after the fact.
We did receive a response from Ms. Mena already, and she was asked who the 13 teachers are, like you asked, that would be receiving the stipend. And she said that at the elementary school, they are the RTI and at-risk teachers. At the middle school, they are The reading teachers at the high school, it's an English teacher, and at Northwest, it's a teacher there as well.
Thank you. And also with that in mind, I like to commend our principals. It's been a long time since we given them a raise. I think we need to look, the board needs to look into our way and to give them a raise. I think, I know that we have heard some of our principals come before us, make presentations and how great the schools are, but they're the ones really that are walking in the hallways, making things happen, working late, Friday nights, Saturdays, making sure that everything is closed at the end of the day. So we, the board, I recommend that we look, Dr. Borrego, find a way that we can find some money, just like the stipends that everybody's asking, but I think they need a raise.
Yes, sir. So we do have a plan in place. There is a path forward. We are currently looking to qualify for PIA. That's the principal incentive allotment. And so, but we are 2 years away from any real compensation for our principals and assistant principals. In the interim, we'll continue to try to find savings and find a creative way to fund their any raises for our principals.
Thank you, Dr. Borrego. So there's a motion, a second. Let's move forward. Adrian, will you call? I know, second by Ms. Barnes, correct? Go ahead, Adrian.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Ms. Borrego.
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado.
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
Thank you, Board.
Item 4C, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding Senate Bill 546, requirements related to school bus 3-point seatbelt compliance, retrofit cost estimates, and require reporting to the Texas Education Agency, TEA. Presenter, Dr. Oscar Rico.
Hi again, Board. So for House Bill, Senate Bill 546, as you know, TEA is now requiring that buses manufactured after a certain date have a 3-point harness system, which we do. All of our new electric buses have that. Some of our newer buses have that as well. However, TEA put out in the Senate bill, we want to retrofit these buses so that they have the 3-point harness system. Keep in mind the average life of a bus is anywhere from 7 to 10 years. So a lot of the ones that we have without those 3-point harness systems are older than the life of a bus. So with that said, in the specific guidance from the state, I need to have a approved motion from the board to do one of two things. Either remove all of the, or one of three things, all of the buses from circulation that do not have a 3-point harness system. For us, it's about 20 buses, and because of the electric buses, 15 of those are still used on a daily basis. So the motion would be to redo all of those or buy those separately, which we would not be able to afford. Based on what Ms. Pulley presented before, we are looking to upgrade one bus. The second thing that you can approve is to pay for the cost to retrofit these buses. Only 3 buses can be done by the manufacturer, which is at a cost of close to $80,000. The rest of them, the manufacturer has clearly told us, the manufacturer being Bluebird, that they cannot warranty any of the work that is done by it or affecting that bus, and that they strongly disagree with the fact that we can retrofit them. However, there is a co-op in Texas that says, no, we'll do it anyway. That one is $375,000. So to retrofit these buses, we are looking at about $425,000 for the retrofits. The majority of them, which the manufacturer is telling us they will not be deemed safe by them. The third option that we could take is take no action so that I can let the state know I need $500,000 to retrofit these safely, and I need the state to take liability for those retrofits. God forbid something happens to one of our buses, one of our babies, something happens there. If we retrofit these buses while the manufacturer is telling you no, that liability will be shifted to us, right? So the state is still working out on several different things. I can tell you from personal experience, we did something similar when it came to protecting devices from cyber security. And the state came through. The state and the next state provided some of the funding and some of the programming for it. So with that said, It is a recommendation of administration that you acknowledge the fact that we have to retrofit these buses for the cost of $474,000, but that we take no action until we find out more from the state on any available funding. We would be reporting this of whatever you pass tomorrow, on the 29th, which is the deadline.
So you're saying take no action, but take action?
Yes, I'm saying take action by saying we will not be taking any action on our buses until the state provides more guidance.
Okay.
Ms. Maldonado, go ahead.
Dr. Rico, so through Highland, we're still in the contract where we're getting so many buses? Is it yearly?
So the buses that we have from Highland are 12 total?
Yes, 12.
Yeah, 12 total. Oh, I heard my conscience somewhere. Yeah, at 12 total. So remember, we have a fleet of about 35 buses. So those 12 are perfectly safe, 3-point harnesses. Those are kept in circulation. They do all of the maintenance for it and everything. So those are good to go. An additional 5, I would say, are in compliance with the 3 points. It's just half of the fleet that is not.
So my question though is, are we getting more from Highland? Was that part of the contract that you get so many this year and so many next year?
Oh, I see. No, the contract is for those 12 buses to remain here
That
for
was
10
it.
years. Mhm.
It was just
We can
12.
explore it to see if there's more grant funding from the EPA.
Okay, so that only covered the 12. And so you said there's 20 buses that need to be retrofitted. However, if we do it, the manufacturer is saying warranty is null, correct?
Correct. And we would have to come up with $475,000 from.
To get them fitted. How many? What is the life of those 20 left? Is it different? It varies.
It's about 10 years, and I can pull it here. I'm sorry that it's not on your backup material. We had put it on there.
So about 10 years is left.
Yes.
Okay.
Was it on the backup or no?
Dr. Rico, the 12 buses that we purchased,
Yes, sir.
how much did that cost us with the grant?
Where's my conscience again? Do you have the total cost? I'm not good with numbers, so that's why we rely heavily on our finance department. And you were asking about the life of the bus, 10 years. The majority of these buses, which are all the ones that the manufacturer says don't touch, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 of the 20 are from that manufacturer and are 2012s or 2013s. So in all intents and purposes, those 424,000, you would be upgrading buses that should no longer be in circulation. The rest of the fleet, there's 2 that we could upgrade from the manufacturer that are 2019 and 2017. We would probably recommend doing that because the cost was minimal and the manufacturer is saying, yes, it's safe. But for the Bluebirds, we are going to be looking for additional revenue for that. And the total cost is?
Okay. I'm trying to find the executive documents, okay?
I try to tee it off like the price is right for you, Ms. Campbell.
Exactly. All right, so. Okay, I have 145. This is the official quote.
So it's per year?
Yes, sir.
$145,000 per year, $145,600 per year.
For the 12 buses?
Yes, ma'am.
For 8 buses.
8 buses. Okay.
So the other 4 we got later
145,000
for 8.
For 8.
per year.
Per year, yes.
That would already come meeting the guidelines.
Yes.
And to retrofit, it's like if it's older, it's going to cost more money, basically.
Yes. And if I may add with the retrofit, ma'am, with the property insurance, we did have a review with the new risk management director and myself and our USI organization that covers our property insurance. They did state that right now, if the way they are in the condition they are, it's devalued. But once we do get them retrofitted, then they will be able to come back and, upgrade the value on those buses. So coverage right now is at a minimum, but it would actually help out by us doing this retrofit.
Well, just in looking at this, if 8 buses cost us about $150,000, let's just round it, right? And they're already are retrofitted and meet the guidelines, And the warranty, the life of those are what, about 10 years?
Yes, 10 years, ma'am.
To me, it would be wiser to try to get Highland see if there's another opportunity to be able to purchase these.
Right.
That would be my opinion.
So we'll have
But-
to wait for EPA, I'm sorry to interrupt, we'll have to wait for EPA to open up that grant availability for us to apply again. Okay.
And I think one of the limitations that Highland has is our sped buses. So our sped buses are some of the older ones in the fleet. Keep in mind that we did not include them on this bond issuance, but that is an expense that we could have put on the bond issuance. So that's usually how the majority of the school districts upgrade their buses. So should there be one in the future, we would be cognizant of that and put it on there. But for tonight, what we have to present to the board is how many were not equipped and the cost. And then if you do not take any action, which is what we're recommending, to retrofit them or buy new ones, by May 29th, we will report back to the agency and say, we're not getting new ones, we're not retrofitting them, this is the number, and this is how much it costs.
Can you fund us $500,000, basically, right?
Okay, so I don't understand. So are we calling for a vote or not?
We'd have to take action, yeah.
Mr. Chair, the
Go ahead,
reason being,
Mr. Rodriguez.
taking no action means we would not take an action. Do we
Correct.
need a motion to take an action?
I would
To
like
not take
to.
an
Yeah, I'm
action?
confused.
I would like to hear a motion.
So the action is to not fix them.
Sorry. Steve Blanco, legal counsel for the district. So the Senate bill requires, as Dr. Rico said, that the district report on the number of buses that are not equipped with the three-point seat belts, the number that are, which you've heard, and the cost to re-equip them, the estimated cost to get them all up to three-point harnesses, which you've also heard. The motion would be to not address the retrofit of the buses that do not have three-point harnesses. You would vote on that, assuming that's what you all want to do. And then he would report to the state, TEA, that this board chose not to retrofit them because the cost is, I don't know what he said, $500,000. That gets reported to TEA. They're gathering all their information from the districts. They've not said or issued any guidance on what that means when the districts don't retrofit the buses, and most of the districts are not in a position to be able to retrofit them because of the costs. Hopefully additional funding, but right now we don't know.
Okay, I'm going to make the motion. Help me out here, Steve.
Okay, the motion would be to not expend the funds to retrofit the buses that currently do not have three-point harnesses.
So I move that we do not retrofit the buses that don't have three-point harnesses
Based on the cost.
based on the cost.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Motion made by Ms. Borrego, second by Ms. Maldonado.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question. You mentioned the sped buses and how we could not use Highland buses for those. What was the reasoning for that again?
So there is not a manufacturer of we call them a Class C bus. So the Class C buses, there is not an electric
Version.
yet.
Okay.
They're working on it, but what they offered us was vans, and we cannot do with vans. So they told us to kind of stay
Hold
put
on.
and see what was in the future.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying.
Dr. Rico and Ms. Campbell, are we saying that if we were to get 10 new buses, if we have the grant available, it will cost us $1.5 million?
No, 10 buses, so a year for 8 buses was 145,000.
Okay.
So you can probably, don't quote me on it, because again, they don't let
1.7
me do
million?
numbers here, but it's probably about 160
Okay,
more a year than what we're paying now.
okay. But right now, in order to address all these buses that we have, it's going to cost us 425?
Just to retrofit these seat belts on
Three.
2011 buses.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the actual language on the state is the board must first decide whether purchasing buses or retrofitting them is feasible with the district's finances.
No, it's not feasible. Dr. Rico, let's look for those grants, Ms. Campbell. Thank you. Motion, and there's a second, made by Ms. Borrego, second by Ms. Maldonado. Adrian, call for the vote.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes. Item number 5, consent agenda voting.
Through the chair, I'd like to post some items, please.
Yes, ma'am?
5A6, 5A7? And 5A8. I just have a few questions.
I move that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of 5A6, 5A7, 5A8.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Discussion?
So I have a question on 5A.
Hold on one
We
second.
need to
Call for
vote.
the.
Sorry.
Call
No,
for
you're
the-
good.
the others.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Item 5A6, approval of agreement between Canutillo Independent School District and El Paso Children's Hospital Corporation doing business as El Paso Children's Hospital. Presenter, Ms. Veronica Campbell and Dr. Oscar Rico.
Good evening, Board.
I guess everybody was able to read through the documentation, right? But I have a question. It mentions that they will pay 50% of the athletic training for nurses, coaches, athletic director from the annual base salary, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason that I posted this is just to engage. There's still, all the logistics have to still be worked out. It's just to engage, to start the conversation. We will not be doing anything, nothing has been finalized until we work this out with Mr. Brooks and Coach Brooks and his staff in identifying who this trainer will be. So all of that has not been worked out. This is why I wanted just to be very transparent, put it before you so you can understand what it is that we will be working on, which is finding out who this person is, the logistics of it. And according to Coach Brooks, they do have, it's kind of like a trainer program where they come on site. And it's working out the liability through the hospital. So it's just to engage, start the conversation.
So we don't really know if it's additional cost to the district
and
or the
that's
term of this
no, ma'am.
contract?
And
Okay.
what I'd like to do is bring it back to you as a formal memo of understanding. This is just to get the conversation started. So it will come back to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome, ma'am.
5A7?
No, I think we have to vote on them individually, Lily.
Okay, so I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the agreement between Canutillo Independent School District and El Paso Children's Hospital Corporation, DBA El Paso Children's Hospital.
Yes, ma'am, and that's to start the engagement.
I'll second.
Start the engagement.
So can we use the word engagement first?
Yes,
I
yes.
think that's critical.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Will you change that, Ms. Maldonado?
So I make a motion to approve the engagement conversation between Canutillo Independent School District and El Paso Children's Hospital Corporation, DBA El Paso Children's Hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Maldonado, second by Ms. Borrego.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Borrego,
Yes.
Ms.
Sorry.
Maldonado,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 5A7, approval of the memorandum of understanding between Canutillo Independent School District and El Paso MHMR doing business as Emergence Health Network. Presenters, Chief Fernando Martinez and Veronica Campbell. And Dr. Reyes.
Thank you. Just a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
It says that CIT staff would be 6. Are these CISD current employees or would they be new hires?
So the crisis intervention team specialists belong to Emergence. We do not hire any additional staff for any of our crisis intervention.
And this is just de-escalation techniques, correct, Chief?
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily. Good evening, everybody. Not necessarily. It could be any CIT calls, as we mentioned, our codes, code green, code red. That's what they respond to. CIT call at each campus.
Okay, but it's not like a prevention.
No.
Okay.
So basically what happens is if there's an outcry, and we have to call the CIT, the Crisis Intervention Team. They come and respond to help mitigate the situation, and then we determine with either counselor, social worker, case manager to help respond to what the CIT specialist is asking to support the child, the student.
Any of these outcries, they're really not flagged to kind of keep an eye on them for future?
There are some that are already on caseloads, and then they may do an outcry, or they may be an initial outcry. So it really just.
Under the scope already, kind of.
Yes, some may be, yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. Is there any additional cost to the district for this service?
No.
No,
This
there's
is
not.
all on them. This is something they want to do to help the situation or the program.
And please note that the crisis intervention team not only responds to students, but it also responds for staff.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Go for the vote, Adrian.
So I
need a
make a motion?
There's a motion already, wasn't it?
No, this is
okay.
a separate
Go ahead.
one. I make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between Canutillo Independent School District and El Paso MHMR doing business as Emergence Healthcare Network.
And I second.
Motion by Ms. Maldonado, second by Ms. Barnes. Go for the vote.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes. Item 5A8, recommendation to approve the memorandum of understanding between La Familia del Paso Incorporated and Canutillo Independent School District. Presenters Dr. Monica Reyes and Veronica Campbell.
Hi again.
Hi.
So again, it's a quick question. So it says that I wrote IST. I think it's a team, but these are social workers. There's a social worker coordinator, right? Is this CISD employee already or La Familia?
This is La Familia.
Again,
So-
all employees by La Familia.
Correct. And so basically, either counselor, social worker, case manager could refer to La Familia, and then based on parent permission, then they can receive services from La Familia.
Okay, and so but we're not providing a coordinator or an employee? I thought I read that.
No,
No?
ma'am.
No,
No.
this is a 501c3 organization, so a lot of it is just them doing these services, providing these services.
And this is kind of like a prevention. If a counselor,
It could,
right?
but it could also be.
Flags them
It
and-
could also be a handoff referral from a CIT call as well. So basically, the bottom line is we are trying to provide a school-based mental health service in every campus. Right now, we have EHN in certain ones, we have Project Vida. We're now bringing in La Familia so that they can address some campuses that have not had a school-based mental health provider on campus to provide support to students.
Okay, that was it?
Dr. Reyes, I have a question. Who is La Familia?
La Familia is another organization, again, that does mental health services, but they also provide services on their on-site for adults, for special ed adults. They're basically the same as Emergence and Project Vida, where they just house and provide those social services.
Who's the director of La Familia?
I do not know that right.
And do they have an office nearby?
Their office is in Central, right?
Yeah.
It's Central?
Is it like La Fe, for example, or La Fe, or what's the other one, Aliviane?
It's
No
a
ad?
breakout of La Fe.
Oh, La Fe? It
Yes.
used to be Project Bravo at one time for many years. So we don't know who really the director is of La Familia?
I have met with both myself and the social workers have met with La Familia staff and the ones that are branching out for the liaisons. And so those are the ones we met with, created the MOU with them, with the expectation of modeling after the Emergence and Project Vida that we already have existing here in Canutillo. And so that's basically what we're doing, is trying to help provide services. Because the other ones are strapped and they're not able to provide at every campus. So we are searching for other organizations that can provide support.
Go ahead,
With all
Steve.
due respect, that's off the agenda, right? We don't want to know about the director. But
No, she's identified in the agreement. It's Lucy.
Yes.
I don't know her, but it's Lucia Dawson.
Lucia
Just asking the
Dawson?
person. I don't know who it is, though.
And they're part of the El Paso Health stakeholders community. You know how I do a lot of work with that? They're part of that. Part of the city as
Okay,
well
thank
with
you.
all of them.
And all these services are available to all our campuses, all our students and families from within the campuses in the district, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding between La Familia del Paso Incorporation and Canutillo Independent School District.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Maldonado, second by Ms. Borrego. Call for the vote.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado? Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes. Item number 6, executive session. To consult with attorney under sections 551.071 and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 6A, closed session under 551.071 and 551.074 to receive and discuss the recommendation of administration through proposed termination of the term contract of Guadalupe Montañez, principal at Diana Davenport Elementary School for a good cause. Item 6B, discussion regarding the administration's recommendation for the position of Chief Financial Officer. Item 6C, discussion regarding the administration's recommendation for the position of Executive Director of Secondary. Time is 8:45 p.m.
We're waiting for Ms. Borrego.
Oh, I didn't know. She's not here. Is she still here?
Adrian, will you bring us back from executive session, please?
Time is 10:40 p.m. Item number 7, new business. Item 7A, discussion and possible action regarding the recommendation of administration to propose termination of the term contract of Guadalupe Montañez, principal at Diana Davenport Elementary School for a good cause. Presenter, Steve Blanco.
Thank you, President Martinez, Dr. Borrego, members of the board. We had a discussion regarding the recommendation from the administration for this item. It is to propose the termination of the term contract of Ms. Montañez, the principal at Diana Davenport Elementary School. As we discussed in closed session, Ms. Montañez had a contract for the 25-26 school year. That contract ended by its own term at the end of this current school year, but was renewed because contracts were issued in the interim before the board could act on this particular matter. So there's also a contract that will be in place for the 26-27 school year, If the board accepts the recommendation of the administration to terminate the term contract, that will include the 26-27 year contract that Ms. Montañez will have going into the upcoming school year. You would need to vote on that. It would be for good cause, for the reasons we discussed in closed session. If the board approves the recommendation of the administration to propose the termination of the contract, Ms. Montañez will receive a written notice of that action, including the specification of the issues that the board has found to be good cause, which we discussed in closed session. And it will also include the identification of her right to request a hearing over that issue. Because remember, this is a proposal to terminate the contract. It still can go through the TEA and appeal officer hearing process if the employee so chooses. So at this time, we need a vote on the recommendation of administration to propose termination of the term contract to Ms. Montañez, the principal at DDE, for good cause as discussed in closed session.
Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Termination, do I hear a second?
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Barnes, second by Ms. Borrego.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
No. And for the record, I need to hear both sides of the story, so therefore my vote is no.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Same, and I'll be abstaining.
Motion passes with Mr. Just to verify, it was Ms. Barnes, Ms. Borrego in favor, and Mr. Martinez and Ms. Ortega. Ms. Maldonado, no, and Mr. Rodriguez abstained.
Correct. Thank you.
Item 7B, discussion and possible action for approval of administration's recommendation for the position of Chief Financial Officer. Presenter, Ms. Martha Carrasco.
Yes, Board, as discussed in closed session, administration is recommending the position of Chief Financial Officer for Ms. Christina Pulley.
Mr. Chair, I so move
Ms.
to
Barnes,
approve
making the-
administration's recommendation.
And I'll second the motion.
A motion by Ms. Barnes, second by Ms. Ortega.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
No, and for the record, if there is no increase in salary for principals or assistant principals or auxiliary or any kind of other staff, then there should be no promotion. So my vote is no.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7C, discussion and possible action for approval of administration's recommendation for the position of Executive Director of Secondary. Presenter, Ms. Martha Carrasco.
Board, as discussed in closed session, we are recommending the position of Executive Director of Secondary for Ms. Nidia Avila.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Ms. Barnes, motion by Ms. Barnes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Borrego?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez? Yes. Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
All in favor, motion passes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Item number 8, meeting adjournment. Time is 10:45 p.m.